Hello, hello, hello. Yep, okay. I know I got to say something since it is a live event. I am waiting on, what's his name? Life for RBG, whatever that means. I want to get one of these Jaspers on, man, that are actually going to defend his position because I get all this, uh, what they call them, pro black simps. Get a lot of pro black simps that come on talking crap. And, if they're sisters in the, that are listening and are on there coming on talking. I want to get one of these pro black simps to come on and actually defend their position. Don't just cape for Chrissy. If you really believe it, come on and defend it. I get people that type. Now they'll type damn near essays with points. I said, okay, well, come on. I said, let me open up a hangout. Come on and defend your position. Well, no, I can't defend my position. I think this will suffice. Bullshit. If you really are passionate about what you believe in, come on and defend it. And I get all these people that are yap, 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 yap. But guess what they don't do? They don't come on and defend their position. Well, Latino, I might do that later. I'll talk about them if I actually put up the 85s. If I put up I put up a video about them, so I can actually give out the basics. 80, well, an 85 an 85 octane girl is basically your bottom of the. I wouldn't call them bottom of the barrel, but basically those are your below basic. Those are your welfare girls. Those are your ratchet girls. Those are your housing project girls. Um, they're dropouts, or they're even if they do pass, they haven't done very well, and they're basically looking to either they're basically trying to survive. They're at the survival level, so they're just looking for a check or the government or somebody else to just take care of them so they can eat. See a lot of them. These chicks might work at McDonald's or some other little fast food joint because they have nothing else. But I'm saying those are your 85s. Those are not your basic working class girls, which is what Tasha was. Tasha's are basically even though people think when I say the call Tasha's basic, those are your salt of the earth. Okay, those aren't your so-called elite women or your step up women. Those are the salt of earth women. Everybody's raised by them. Those are normally the mothers of the house. I have nothing but respect for the Tashas of the world. So don't get me wrong, because I call them basic and call them 87. Those are the bulk of your of the community. They don't have a fancy lofty goals or high education. They just want to. Those are your decent people, and there's nothing wrong with decent women. In fact, we don't. I don't think we have enough. You know, if we put Tashas in the right place, we don't really have enough good Tashas or 87s, and that's the problem. Okay, swirling. Okay, I got to remember, I am a. Everybody knows I am a Pan African. I am what pro black. I was just talking to the people in the conscious community just yesterday, and the pro blacks or the pro black simps, as some people like to call it, have given the conscious community a very, very bad name, a very, very bad name. Because back then you had to have been, if you weren't going to get out and talk, you had to have published something. You couldn't just get on social media and spout something because nobody would take you seriously. You had to have actually published something or be well read. And a lot of these, what we call pro blacks, aren't well read anymore. They don't study. They look at YouTube videos, and they look at hidden colors, and then all of a sudden they're pro black, and they really don't know anything. But swirling, just comment on swirling really quick. Okay, that is what they're pushing you into. That is what they're pushing you into. That's how come they open up the schools and open up the neighborhood so that you would be next to these people, white girls and white guys, so that you would intermarry. And they're pushing you into. So swirling is just part of the environment. The only thing is that that caste system is has been so ingrained into the population that there's still an impediment. It's a wonder that black people haven't disappeared into mulattoes as yet, because they've been pushing since 1945. They've been pushing black people to quote unquote swirl and mix. So swirling is just part of the environment. So the thing is, I can't get mad at women, young women and young men for dating outside their races, because your society is pushing you to do that. So it takes, that's why a lot of the pro-black people or the conscious community is saying black love is a revolutionary act, because you're going against the grain of what society is pushing you into. I'm trying to wait. I'm trying to wait. Actually, what I want is people that disagree, because there's a lot of people that are pro-black that need to state their case. So I'm waiting for them. I mean, I could open it up. I could open it up uh, for for you guys. The thing is, this is not normally what I do, because I do have other things to do. But there's a whole bunch of people doing typing essays, and I said I basically issued a challenge for them to come on. If they want to state their case, but they want to state their case by typing. So I'm saying is, to really believe in what you believe in, come on and defend it. So I'm giving them an opportunity to defend it. So yeah, I'm gonna give them a few minutes, and then I'll open it up for a short time, because this is not my normal time to actually do something like this. But what I really want is people to come on that really disagree, that are really into the taking Chrissy's side, or basically that side of the equation that says that um, not just the black men period, but educated black men that are basically not liked in the community, which we call the educated lames. And Ron Wills just did a good video on there, that are not liked or not desired by the women or by the community period. Why are they held that they should build something for a community that doesn't like them? So if there's anybody if there's anybody out there that disagrees, those are the people I want to. Because I just posted it to the guy that he's been going back and forth, because he believes in what he's saying. I said, come on, if you want to defend your position, I'll open up a hangout just so you can come on to defend your position. Oh no, what I type should be suffice. Bullshit. It's bullshit. If you believe it, you believe it. If you believe it, you can come on and you can articulate it. I don't need you to write. If you want to write a book, publish the whole doggone book, or publish the whole book, and so I can read it. I can disagree. Yeah. Now there's some because Sarge Willie P's one. He's an educated man. He takes Chrissy says there are some. I've met some, but I'm gonna give him a few minutes. I don't think he's going to take it, but I'm gonna give him a few minutes, because there's been a couple of guys that have come on that has actually caped, that are actually caped. Yeah, I got a lot of people in the background, but I'm going to. I'll post if you guys want to jump on real quick. I got about 30 minutes. I can't stay on. I can't do one of my long hangouts, but I'll post the link for you guys. Yeah, they're a no show. Um, if it comes to the point where I need donations, I'll put something out. But right now, no. With the donation that I like best is for you guys to actually take the information and extend it, and basically take the information and use it. I mean, yeah, I give a the information that I actually give out is just a small piece. Um, because sometimes I know sometimes I can put out stuff. It's like a fire. The information that I actually give out is just. You got to turn down your speakers real quick. Because sometimes I know sometimes I can put out stuff. It's like a fire. I give a. Okay, well, if okay, I'm mute until you're ready to speak. If you're ready to speak, go ahead and jump in.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Wait, so you're looking for anybody to come on and basically go against what you're saying as far as interracial relationships?
I'm not. Well, no, I'm not. I'm not detracting interracial relationships.
No, I'm against it.
Okay.
I'm against it, but
why? Okay. Go ahead and state your case. I'm listening.
I'm an Israelite, and I'm always on these comment sections. I don't know if you see me. But I'm against it for the reason of the Bible as far as it states against it. But even before I was an Israelite, like 2 years ago, I was into basically the consciousness of everything. So I was into aliens and all that bullshit. But as far as interracial relationships, I'm still against it. But it's when brothers complain to me, I gotta side with them. Because you already know what's going on as far as with black women, how they treat black men and things of that nature. And I'm against white men because I can't get with a white woman because, I talk so much shit about white people, period, that if I get with a white woman, it's not going to last. Because I actually, before I even came into the truth as far as being an Israelite, I was talking to a white woman. But that's when I started getting into my black consciousness. And I was telling her I don't celebrate holidays and shit like that. So it's like, I was a hypocrite if I actually got with her, but me and her couldn't last.
Right.
But with brothers getting into relationships, I can't really knock them. It's like it's hard for me to tell them no.
Exactly.
Because I'm into in 2010. I don't know if you were around that time when you had the same gender wars going on right now was in full swing.
Yeah, I mean, I was. Go ahead.
No, and it was in full swing, and I was listening to everybody speak. Sergeant Willie Pete, and what's that? They had it wasn't YouTube, but I forgot. There was another
Blog Talk Radio.
No, not Blog Talk Radio. There was another one that where brothers went to because YouTube started flagging guys. Guys were starting to get flagged for talking about the gender war or speaking out against black women. So I forgot what it was called, but there was another channel. It was set up like YouTube, but it was for black men to voice their opinion. And I couldn't knock them. I couldn't tell them no. I couldn't tell them anything like, oh, well, you know what? You should just stick it out. You should stay with black women because this gender war is real. And I feel like black women are siding with white men. And if you go back to, back into a time where you have the bed wenches and you watch some of these movies, like if you watch
Exposing Emperor says it was black men vent.
Basically. Okay. And I feel like black women don't like YouTube because now you have a platform for black men to vent because black men never were able to vent on, let's say, Ricky Lake or, some of those talk shows because I hate how black women say that black men are tearing them down and talking against them, but they're the ones who are going to the white media, Fox News, and sitting across from the white man and talking shit about the black man. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see black men on the news or the mainstream media talking about why educated black men can find a civilized black woman. We are talking amongst ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and it really gets on my nerves when black women don't take what black men say to heart, because it's not like we're all saying the same different. It's not like we're saying the different things. We
Mm-hmm.
got black men from I'm from like around New York. You got
Mm-hmm.
black men in California. You're in California, right?
Right.
You got black men from California, from Florida, from Texas saying the same thing. But these
Yeah.
black men do not want to take our advice. And the difference between black men and swirlers is when you go to some of these swirlers comment sections, they're talking
Mm-hmm.
about killing black men, killing babies. But black men, when you go to these comment sections, they're just basically saying that these black women, they gotta act right, they gotta do better, they gotta it's simple. They gotta switch up their attitude, treat us like human beings, and the no good thugs and white men, they gotta at least give good brothers a chance. But it's like they don't even want to acknowledge that.
Because they don't want to women, and I think I've put this I think it's in one of my videos called Communicating with Women. Women by nature, and if you're an Israelite, and if you listen to the Kabbalah, the woman is the vessel, and
Yeah.
women are not because they're a vessel. They're not built to take criticism, and women
No.
don't take criticism very well,
No.
and they especially don't take criticism very well in public because it does tear down the vessel. But at some point, at some point, they have to be able to they have to take criticism. We can't continue to just pamper them like they're 14-year-old children or 12-year-old children, especially not in a liberal society like this. That is when I was younger, I didn't believe in arranged marriages, but now I see why they were arranged, because you can't because when you let young women have the choice over what they do with their wombs, they're going to screw society up, which they have.
You know why I'm laughing? Because I was arguing that same point. I understand arranged marriages because the father knew better. The women, they act off emotions. The man act off more of a he's pragmatic. The father
Hmm.
would look at a man and be like, okay, he doesn't have that sexual appeal. He might be decent looking, but he
Right,
can provide for my daughter. He
right.
can do certain things that for my daughter that the thug can't. That's why I believe in arranged marriages, because the arranged marriages were set up for the father to pick the best man for his
or,
daughter.
or the elders, elders period. Even in a matriarchy, if you
Mhm.
look at West Africa and the matriarchies, the families still choose the husband for the daughter. The daughter does not choose her own husband.
And the thing about me with women, I don't hold them to a high regard. I treat women as children. Like the Bible says, the woman should shut up and learn. And the woman, she doesn't have the mentality. She doesn't have
She doesn't
basic.
have the emotional maturity. It's not even the mentality. It basically what it comes down to is because of their biology, there's an emotional maturity. There's a top end for most women. I'm saying for all women, but for most women, there's a top end to their emotional maturity. And the thing
All
is,
right,
they
so now
disagree. Yeah, they disagree.
I
But
got
the thing is, go ahead.
okay.
I didn't want to
I got a
interrupt you. Go
question
ahead.
to ask you because
Hmm.
I got a question to ask you, and I asked all these brothers. I asked Rom Wills this question,
Hmm.
and everybody.
Right.
Where do we go from here? Hold on. Where would we go from here? Because you have we're at a point where good brothers are waking up, and they're right now fed up. I'm fed up. Like
Hmm.
I'm fed up to the point, and I don't like white women. I find black women attractive, but I'm asking you this question: where do we go from? Do we
Oh,
leave?
no. Oh, okay. There's two ways of doing it. You can leave,
Yeah,
but what I would say, if it were me, and it was up to me, I would just wholesale replace them. I would say, okay, there's I would say if you include the what's it the black Indians in India, I would
yeah.
say there's at least 700-800 million black women on the planet. I would say just go. There's only if there's only 22 million black females
Yeah.
in the United States. I said, just do what the white men do. Just go overseas and replace them. Just go
This is
to
what I have done.
Colombia. Go, yeah. What I'm talking about. Just say, I'm going to go to Ghana. I'm going to go to Ethiopia. I'm going to go to Brazil, and I'm just going to say, if the only reason it doesn't happen is because the United States has a restriction on how many black people come in the United States.
All right,
Because if it
listen, bro.
wasn't for that, go ahead. Go ahead.
I I I got my passport a couple months ago, and I traveled to the Dominican Republic in August and in
Hmm.
November.
Right.
So I'm aggressively traveling now, and I
Hmm.
can admit these women are beautiful. These women are brown, dark skinned brown, and these
Hmm.
women treat you like men.
Right.
And I had a DR a woman that I felt like I wanted to marry, and
Hmm.
if I can give any brother advice, I would tell him
Hmm.
go get his passport and try to travel outside his country. Because in March I'm going to Jamaica, and in July I'm trying to go out to Colombia. And I'm telling
Yeah.
these brothers, if you can find a woman outside of this country, please do, and don't neglect Africa because Nigerian women. Because there's a YouTube video called YouTube channel called Batterbox, and these women were talking about how they would treat their man if they would allow their man this and that, and these women actually honor their men. They don't basically put their man on the back burner and look into matriarch. I don't believe in matriarch. I believe in patriarch. I believe the man is the head of the home, and the woman is not the subject, but she is the counsel as far as a king. Because you got to understand, each house, each home is a kingdom. So now you have your courts, and you have your king, and then he has his people who give him advice. That's what I look as the woman as, but the head of the
Okay.
house is the one who comes down ultimately
Oh,
with the
okay.
advice.
Okay. There's another brother there's another brother trying to get in.
Yeah, you can let him speak. I'm done.
Okay. You trying to get in, brother? Or you just listening?
I'm just listening, man.
Okay. Okay. Mute your mic if you can, man, so that you
Okay.
don't pop up. Okay. Okay. This is the research that I've done. And that's why I came to YouTube in the first place. 'Cause I've been in the conscious community, like I said, for 30 years. You know, um, I've been. I first read the autobiography of Malcolm X when I was 16, and I'm 57, so that's like 41 years. So I've been into this struggle for 41 years.
I'm
And the re-
27 to let you go.
uh, so in other words, I've been through all this stuff. So basically, why I came to YouTube because all the stuff that you're saying has been said before. Okay, everything that you've just said has been said before, but there's a reason why it's not working in the black community. There's a reason that it's not working. So I came to YouTube and I actually became a MGTOW because I wanted to understand not only my little section, which I already understood, but how the wider scope of the environment of where our society actually works. And the thing is, what you're saying works within a certain environment. Okay, it works if the society builds, because everything that you're saying is just a social instrument. Marriage is just a social instrument.
Yeah.
Okay, marriage, if you look at the environment, a marriage is just a social instrument, just like anything else. And the thing, it works in a certain environment. And what is going on right now is that the environment, because you struggle with it, the environment is not conducive to that. For a big long list of reasons that I've documented in, I said, God knows, I have 150, 140, 150 videos on my MGTOW channel, and I got 200 here. So I basically gone through all this stuff. Okay, it depends on the environment. And the thing is, the reason the environment changed is because the Industrial Revolution. Because just if you go back to the Jarawa tribe, that's whose a culture goes back some 60 or 70,000 years. There's monogamy. There's arranged marriages.
Yeah.
There's a social group. There's all that stuff that the marriage is there. It's been there for a long time. But the thing is, the marriage fits the environment, and marriage changes the environment. And the thing is, the Industrial Revolution has basically changed the whole environment that hadn't been done since men came off the plains. It just did. is basically disintegrating marriages. Every place the Industrial Revolution touches is disintegrating marriages, because
Yes.
now you don't have, because what is marriage for? Basically, it's for two things. It is to join. It is to join two families together, and it's to
Hmm.
bring in children properly, because the children are needed by the society to do work. Because your society doesn't survive or do work if you don't bring in children properly. So they had to fashion um, instruments, social instruments, which marriage is one of them, to do that. Well, what happens when the environment changes? Then you don't need children, because right now society, most post-industrial societies do not need children. The only reason the only people that actually need children are the state. And I was just listening to Yvonne Orji. She was in Insecure, and her
Yeah.
parents are from Nigeria. And they and the
Is that
argument,
the East? Is that Issa
Issa is
from Night? She's from Sierra Leone,
she's from
right?
Senegal. She's from
Senegal.
Senegal.
Yes.
But Yvonne Orji, who played Molly, who's a virgin, by the way,
Hmm.
um, she's from Nigeria. She was explaining that the reason that her parents got married and brought her and her children, her siblings, over to America and educated them to the best of their ability, because that is their retirement.
And the funny thing about that whole show is that you notice that the main women of that show are African, from
Or
African.
African descent, yes. Hmm.
And you know, if they were from Africa, if they were African, so-called African American, they wouldn't let that show rock, because those women wouldn't agree with that. That's the funny. When I found out she was from Senegal, I'm like, okay, I understand why this show exists, and I think she's one of the writers. And I heard most of the writers are males too, as well. So I understand why that show is going on, because they don't have African American women as writers. Because if they had African American writers, Lawrence
Yeah.
wouldn't be so-called the good guy. Because at
No.
first, when I looked at Lawrence, I seen him on the couch. I'm like, this nigga. I was like, oh gosh, why they have to have the black man on the couch in sweats, doing nothing? And then
Right.
I said, I watched all the when I think it was you when you first dropped the video, and then you put out, oh, you should watch the show. I subscribed to HBO for the free month, and I
Right.
watched all the episodes, and I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, I see what's going on now, and I understand why those women are from Africa, because if those women were from America, none of that would go on.
No.
That show
They,
would be totally different.
yeah, they wouldn't tell the truth. And
No, they wouldn't.
the reason that I put it up is because, like I said, I live in the community, and
Hmm.
those women are exactly as portrayed, even down to the point where Issa was lying to Lawrence about sleeping with the guy. That's exactly what my daughter looks when she lies. Exactly.
God.
My daughter is Issa. She's educated.
Oh
She's
wow.
not fulfilled. That's her.
So let me ask you a question, because you're an intelligent brother, you're very wise, and you're older gentleman. Does she take your advice or no?
She listens to it. She she'll listen to it. She'll be in her head, and when if I can excuse my French, when she fucks up, then she comes back and says, "Dad, you're right." She doesn't take
But
it
does
to.
she learn?
She learns by trial and error, and sometimes she doesn't even come back and say anything because she's embarrassed.
But how old is she? Because that's the
She,
problem. Because
she's
when
20.
women learn
She's
from trial and
28.
error,
No, she's 28. She's almost
yeah,
30 years old.
she's hitting that cusp. She's hitting that cusp when she's hitting the wall. Like, I'm 27 and
Mhm.
I'm in shape, and I started making good money. So now she's hitting that wall where men like me, who are going to turn 30 soon, are not going to want to deal with her, because me
Yeah.
and her are the same age. So now, after she learned through trial and error of dealing with those no good shit men, and I'm the type of man that I study a woman's past. I don't
Mhm.
let nothing go past me. The first few couple of dates, everything's fine. We start with the generic questions, but
Mhm.
I want to know who you were dealing with in the past, and I want to know your
Exactly.
past.
Exactly. And women always say, "Why does it matter?" And I said, "That's why I put this stuff on the channel about imprinting." You know.
So I made a comment earlier on Ron Will's on there. Somebody made a comment, but I was like, the reason why women do not like when men criticize their past is because a lot of ghosts are going to come out their past, and they don't want to
Yes.
be judged on the certain
No,
decisions that they made.
it's not that. It's not that. Okay, a lot of women, a lot of women won't tell you about their past is
Hmm.
because those are the guys that they like. And if they
Depending
want
on how.
you, if they know that if a man knows, if a woman is straight up and tells a guy what her type of a man is, then that guy, if he wants to hit it, he may stay around for a second, but he's not going to seriously, guess what, invest in that woman because he knows that I'm not the type of guy that she likes.
I'm the backup man, the cleanup man, the one that's supposed to come in and save her.
Yeah.
What about
He
replaced her then? Replace the former alpha with outperforming him in every way.
if you know what I'm saying is if the woman is valuable enough for you to do that, because I have done that.
Yeah, I
If
thought it was
if,
me.
if she's valuable enough for you to do that and take and put in that kind of work, within, yeah, you can do that. It can be done. You know, it can be done. It depends on how good the guy was before you.
What about if it was easy because you were like far superior to the other one?
If you're if you become her new alpha,
Hmm.
if you become her new alpha, then you don't have to worry about the dude coming up from behind you. Don't have to
No,
worry
no,
about it.
no, no, I'm not talking about being worried here. I'm just saying, like, is it possible just to have done it
Yeah,
easy? You don't have to
it's
worry.
not.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying. I can't say whether it's easy or hard because there's a lot of guys that were the woman's alpha that didn't know what the fuck he was doing. I ran across them, and they run across you who do know what you're doing, and all of a sudden you blow him out of the water.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
everybody, I'm saying, but that's for guys that can actually do that. Every guy can't do that,
Fair enough.
and I can't give general advice for a specific case. Yes, it is possible, and it happens all the time. Because you could have had a girlfriend in high school, and you were her alpha, you were her ideal man, and she slips up, and that particular guy walks through the door, the thunderbolt happens, and she's out the door.
Hmm.
But there's nothing you can do about that. So it happens. Go ahead.
BGS.
Yes.
Um, how does how does having like loads of sexual partners affect the male? Because we know how it affects the female. It conforms to her ideal. But what about the male?
Basically what it how can I put it? It's like having say whatever your favorite food is every day.
Okay.
You know, in other words, you get desensitized to it, and that's what happened to me. And Ron was just talking about that in one of his videos. I think it might have been his latest video.
All
I
right. He
think
said that he wished he only had 9 sexual
you
partners.
want to have 9 sexual partners because
Yeah.
after a certain point, basically a step above masturbation. In other
Okay.
words, and I had an old, that's why young men say, "How come you listen to old guys?" When I was in my 20s, my mid 20s, an older guy, he was in his 40s, and he said, he, the guy, the games man, because he was smooth. He was smooth. He was a talker. He had a mouthpiece. He had a lot of women, and he
Hmm.
said, there's a certain point where you basically fucking a woman, and it becomes the same pussy with a different face.
Okay.
In other words, I would say you have maybe, in my experience, you might have 10% of the women, maybe even less than that are exceptional, that are memorable as far as sexual partners. Normally that 10% are fucking crazy, and you can't stay around them too long. That's the downside. But like 90% of the women, 90% of the women are just average. They really are. They're just average.
Can you undo the whole sexual desensitization though? Can you undo that?
Can you do it? You can. You can do it partially by staying celibate for a while. You can partially undo it. But the thing is, it's just like anything else. If it's in your if it's in your memory bank,
Hmm.
um, after about 6 months, basically it'll, basically you get back in the same rhythm. At 6 months, you go back to your old ways. Guess what happens? You're gonna get desensitized again. It's just like drugs. Okay, but you can't replicate the first hit. You never can. And the more you do the drug, the less and less and less effect it's going to have on you. Same thing with sex is nothing but just another drug, really, another sensation. But it's not to the it is not to the same degree as women. Women with men is just sex. It has nothing to do how he bonds, because a man bonds with a woman differently than a woman bonds with a man. A man, sex is just part of the bonding process with a man. Just part. With women, that's a big, huge component. You know, a man will probably even more strongly bond to his children than to his woman. And he never has sex with them because it's an emotional and psychological bond.
That probably explains why men bond more with other men than
Right,
maybe women.
right, because men bond psychologically. Sex, because the testosterone is more. Sex to men 90% of the time is more like is an appetite. You know,
Wow.
if if uh if your testosterone didn't pump and your dick didn't get hard, you wouldn't chase women. You chase women because you're hungry, you're thirsty, literally thirsty, and that hormone, that drug called testosterone is pushing you to chase. That's what it's supposed to do. That's like when men get past 35, it diminishes. Like when I was in my 20s, man, you basically literally if you hadn't had sex that day, man, literally you want to get up that night and go roam the streets looking for a fix. Literally, that's what you're doing
Yeah, that's
when it
that's how I
gets.
feel now, man.
Yeah, I mean, really, so it's different. Our emotions are not necessarily attached to, like Ron was saying, our emotions are not attached to sex the way women are. We have a psychological bond. One, because through our mother, because that's where male mother need comes from. You know, it's it's psychological. Our ideal woman is in our heads, and we project it out onto the world. So if we see a woman that matches what's in our heads, that's the woman for us. That's the one we get attached to until something.
So aren't we guilty of doing the same thing that women do? We're creating a fantasy in our head and then imposing it on another individual. So
Yeah,
the same thing women
it,
do,
it,
essentially.
same. It's just a little bit reversed. The thing is that we miss is the physical component that women need. Women need that physical component more than we do.
So is there any room for love in this equation?
Love don't exist.
Yeah. Well, that's an opinion. I think love does exist.
Okay,
It does
that's
exist.
that. Okay, wait, what? Coming from you, that's very shocking.
Why? Why?
You
I'm a
don't
non.
trust women.
I didn't say I try. I can. Okay. This is what my teachers have told me, and it's a quote from Carolyn Mace.
Okay,
True, true love. True love is not dependent on an outcome. I love my children. I love my children no matter what they do or what they become. I love my children. So what my love for them is not dependent on whether they love me back.
okay.
Oh, that
I don't have.
isn't.
I
Wouldn't
don't.
that be considered a biological though? Be
No. It's biological. It's biological. It's also emotional, and it's also intellect. True love, or what we could, because I'm a Gnostic. Okay, I'm not an atheist, and Adam can tell you I'm not an atheist. I'm a
mm,
Gnostic. True love is basically unselfish. It's giving,
Yeah, like Jesus.
like Jesus or the Creator, any saint that you can think of. True love does not depend on the outcome of the other person. You can love a person even no matter what state they're in. That doesn't mean that you're stupid.
It can make
There's
you
a
stupid though.
It can't, if you give into it, it can make you stupid. But the thing is, true wise love. You know, I don't coddle my children. Okay, I don't. I can be tough on my children. I don't coddle them, even though I love them. I love them because I want them to be better. Just you ever see a football coach or a basketball coach or a sports coach really dig in and are really tough on his guys? He run them through all these kind of drills, man, and he's pushing them, pushing them, pushing them. And you swear that the guy hates his players, right? You swear
Yep.
that he hates his players. No, he loves his players. Why does he love his players? Because he wants to push them to get the best out of them. He's sacrificing his mentality, his will, and he's pushing those. He's using his will to push those players to get the best out of them, no matter what they do, whether they win every game or they lose every game. He
What
wants
okay,
each and every player to be the best they can be. That's love.
what
Can you
happens
flip
when
that
they
in a
start to
female's
abuse that?
perspective?
One at a time. One at a time.
Okay, go on, go on.
Can you flip that, what you just said, because I suspect you were coming from a male's perspective. Now put it in a female perspective, love. And in regards to a male that's not a part of her, for lack of a better term, tribe, and did not come out of her vagina.
If a woman, which is sometimes rare, can evolve to that level, that universal love from the Creator, which can be rare, and normally they don't evolve that to that level until they get older, like past 40 or 50. If she can evolve to that level, yes, she can have the same kind of love. But the thing is, if she
And
doesn't,
after they,
well, no, what I mean, it depends on the emotional maturity of the woman. Most, I would say, 80 to 90% of women are not capable of that kind of love because they're not built for that kind of love. They have to, they have to evolve past their own biology, which takes a lot of work. Most women are too lazy to do that kind of work and evolve past that kind of biology.
so it's pretty much self-serving. It's
It's
it's a means
it's
to an end.
it's a means to an end for a very good reason. She has to
Okay,
bring
this
you.
this this kind of links into what you said before, that men generate love, essentially.
Yes. Well, if you look, okay, I know because
Yeah.
Adam is, because I'm going to say for everybody on the line, Adam is what they call a conscious atheist. Okay, he
Yes,
believes
mate.
it's philosophy, even though he doesn't believe. I don't know if he believes in a creator or not, but I'm going to assume he doesn't.
I'd kind of do now, to be honest.
Okay, okay. In other words, you're an atheist to the point that you don't believe in religious dogma, right? If that's
Yes,
fair. Okay, that's
perfect.
okay. I'm gonna use because the Kabbalists use it well eloquently. I mean, there's other religions they all say the same thing, but it's more eloquent the way they put it. Is that the men are a reflection of the Creator. They carry the spark of the Creator. They carry the Creator's life-giving force, even down to the sperm. The sperm is the one that carries the life spark, or carries what they call the love of God, because the love of God gives life to its creation. Okay, so men do create love in a sense. Women are vessels to do what? Receive love. That is their job. They take that love and they basically shape it into something, to a physical product. The same thing as your animal inside your brain takes your hopes, dreams, and ideas, and if you give it energy, she will take it inside your brain, mold it into a fruit, and grow it so that it can be manifested on the other side in the physical world. So men create love. They give the love creation, the spark and the ideas to the woman or to the female so that she can mold it and grow it into a physical manifestation.
BGS, I have another
Yes.
question.
Yes, sir.
How do you stop that love from being abused, like with your children?
How do you stop that love to well men not only love but they also set boundaries.
Okay.
In other words, you know, when I said before a man has really should have a woman should have a mission and a purpose, because the mission and the purpose will set the boundaries. And any woman that's outside of those boundaries, you cut it off. Same thing we're saying.
Okay, Ten Commandments.
10 Commandments.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm using
Yeah,
the Bible. When people abuse the 10 Commandments,
yeah,
God, cut them off
cut
essentially.
them off. Yeah,
Sin
cut them off. Yeah,
results in being cut off. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, those men. That's how come women complain. We don't know where you're going, blah blah blah, blah, because you haven't set your firm boundaries.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're lost, she's lost too.
I think at the end of the day, a lot of men are poisoned with the idea of having like that romance that women are exposed to. So, for instance, the romance novels, a lot of women, I'm not going to say all of them, have idealized that relationship, and therefore a lot of men are trying to reciprocate or replicate that relationship because they think that's what women want. But at the same time, they've never really studied what works.
Well, okay, that's
What's
because we've lost the tradition of what it actually means to be a man, or actually means to be uh, carry yourself in that particular manner, because
yeah,
because the whole society's been feminized, because they really don't uh, they really do. Well, the Western society doesn't value manhood anymore for whatever reason, so they don't. It's not, it can be. I mean, it's innate, but it has to be brought out, just like anything else, just like anything else in a human being. Manhood is innate in the man, but the thing is, it has to be brought out, shaped, and molded and forged so that it can actually do some work. And we don't do that to our boys anymore.
yeah.
So it's not that the men believe in something. They've been taught this is what love is. This is how they're supposed to carry themselves as a man, and it's not, because I wasn't taught that way. Before the feminist generation, I wasn't brought up that way.
How is it that a lot of the older squad, in terms of men, allowed for society to become so feminized and nothing was done about it?
I'm curious about that as well, actually.
Because I'm from London, and a lot of guys, it feels like there was a generation of missing men of the Generation X era. I've met a few of them. I knew a few of them. I was mentored and raised. My own father died when I was young, but
Yeah.
I did know a lot of surrogates, so to speak. So I'm lucky in that respect. But it seems like Generation X men went missing. I hear, and this is just some hearsay from Dick Gregory, that a lot of them were murdered or killed or arrested and thrown in jail and stuff like that.
Some of them were, but the thing is, okay, I did a anybody that's on my Black Gnostic Speech channel, which is a MGTOW channel. I did I think a 3-parter called Feminize America. Okay, the reason that they did is that Western because of the baby boom generation, right? Okay, if you know anything about demographics, I put it on my channel because it's hard for me to go through it on a hangout because I went through it in detail in certain videos. I couldn't put it all together in one video, but if you follow the progression of my videos and you saw demographics and stuff like that, then you would understand. Okay, boys males between 15 and 45 are called arms bearing males.
Yeah, I know this part. Yeah.
If there's a revolution or a war or something's going to happen, it's going to be those group of males that are going to do it. And there's a population had been going down for like the last 150 years, right? And all of a sudden, right after World War II, there was a big spike in the population, and you had all these males at like 3 or 4 times the amount of males being born. Okay, and as they came of age, because they were such a big force, they started vying for what their piece of the pie.
Hmm.
That's why how come you have. I'm sure. I'm not. I don't know British history very well, but I'm sure there was protests in the '60s. In the '60s, right? You guys had protests too, right?
Regarding war effort, or at least
War efforts, union, work, unionized work, all
yes,
kinds of things, right?
yes, and there was
Right,
a massive decline in the family and jobs and stuff. Yes, but
right,
it was
right.
yeah, for mining and the loss of jobs and coal
Yeah.
stuff like
So in other words, you had these big massive males, and you had these big massive males that are in the arms bearing years, right?
that. Yes,
That could potentially overturn the societies or the civilization completely, because there's a huge number of them. You can't fight all those guys, right? All those arms bearing males. You're gonna have a
it
revolution. So what do you
kind of
do?
happens here.
So what do you do? You basically socialize the maleness out of men. That's what feminism was basically about. They basically set up. They basically set up a program, set up a policies to basically take the males out of the seat of power, socialize them to be betas, basically.
So all the men in prison are men who rejected or couldn't be socialized or something.
You will they have some parts that will go into the service of the army. You know, if they're aggressive enough, some parts will go into will be elite, and be leaders and be socialized that way. Uh, some parts will go into the ones that they're rejected will be athletes, and then the other ones that don't fall in those categories, they wind up in prison. Yes,
Okay. So all the men who are pretty much outside those areas are pretty much betas. Then is that what I'm understanding, or just
in other words, they take the beta training, just like
okay?
in the Matrix. The Matrix is a prime example. Okay, the Matrix. That's why I come. That's how come red pill guys accept vibe to the Matrix so much. Who are the people that went to Zion?
Oh, I got you. People who ain't
Okay,
accept.
who people that didn't accept the programming, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, they're either killed or they were ejected from what the society.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, at the end, when the architect said that you lose a whole crop of children because they wouldn't accept the programming, and
Yeah.
that's what basically the Western society is one big feminized society is basically one big matrix.
Hasn't that led to the decline of this society, though?
Yeah, yes, it has, because because they were experimenting. They thought that women actually wanted to lead.
Really?
Yes,
All right. But
if that's what they thought. They were. If you read if you read more than Title IX first, you can read how they planned it and the policies they laid out, and then you read I think it's what is it called? It's called well, The Richer Sex by Liz Monday. She really spells it out because she's getting in women's asses, the call so-called alpha females asses by not wanting to be providers.
yeah,
She's really digging in black women, basically white women's asses about not wanting to be providers. And because this is what feminism have brought you. You're supposed to be in this place where you actually take over and become head of the house. That was the plan, and women basically rejected. And then then that triggered black males basically to say, guess what? This is all fucked up. It's all screwed up. And then their maleness is starting to come out. That's how come um, Hebrew Israelism is so attractive to men now, because it allows the maleness of men to actually come out.
yeah,
You get
And I,
MGTOW, you get Hebrew
yeah,
Israelism,
yeah.
you get pickup artists, you get it's disjointed. But this is that the beta eyes male that were trained to be beta men, beta people are basically rejecting the program because in their interior is not to be a receiver, it's to be a giver. And
Yeah,
you can't change them. You can't arbitrarily socialize the nature out of men. You just can't.
definitely.
And they're rejecting it. And
Yeah,
it's popping
that's
up
why
in
we're here. That's why we're here.
yeah.
That's why we're in this chat.
That's why we're in this chat. And,
Yeah.
and and that's why you have a lot of old guys that didn't get programmed into it, that were never really into the matrix, coming back and telling our stories. This is bullshit. So we're basically giving you what we learned, that skipped a generation or two, and feeding it back to you guys and say, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, but is there any barriers that the older generation will face regarding that? Because it seems like an uphill battle because the policy is still in play, still in action. Is there?
What because guys like me, we're way too old. We're outside of that 15 to 45-year-old range. So we're not over. We're basically the boomers that are my age and older are not overturning shit.
Okay.
All we can do is give you our perspective and counter the narrative. In other words, um, a lot of young people are telling you what happened in the 60s, in the 70s, and even the 80s. You weren't born in 1985. You're reading a book, and you're going to tell somebody that lived through the period what I experienced. You reading the book, sweetie. It's like me asking my mother what it was like to go through argue with my mother about what it was like to be born in the Depression. I don't know. I didn't live through the period. All I can do is read a book and guess. Well, I'm trying to put myself back into like Chris was saying, I'm trying to put myself into the mind of the women that were back there.
Yeah, but Chrissy sounded batshit insane though during it. Like she didn't really sound coherent when she was doing it.
What did I say at the very beginning about Chrissy?
Yeah, that she says a lot of stupid shit. Fair enough.
Like my daughter, she says a lot of stupid shit because she's going through a discovery phase. She's saying a lot of stupid shit. And like I said, she hasn't gone through the trial and error of of gaining wisdom instead of what passes for knowledge. Well, in fact, she hasn't even studied. What passes for knowledge, what she's passing for knowledge is bullshit. Half of the stuff that Chrissy is saying is what she's gleaned from the videos that I have. She hasn't really gone deeply into it.
That and a lot of SWP talking points, to be honest.
It's the blind leading the blind.
I know he is infectious though, man.
Yeah. Well, to whom?
To angry people who want to blame educated lames for being lames, which I don't really like that term either. It just pisses them off more and more.
What I'm saying is, you know why I use it. I use it because that's the term that's given, and people will recognize it.
Yeah, I understand. So it's a
Yeah.
pretty nomenclature there.
Yeah. So in other words, if that's what they're going to recognize this group of men as, which basically, Du Bois called it, you guys the talented 10th.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That sounds much better.
What I'm saying is, the thing is, the talented 10th is not just a black term. It's a social term that's all across any society. Those are supposed to be your elite people because those are the brains of the community. They're supposed to be the leaders, the educators, basically the leaders, the decision makers, the people that invent shit, the people that actually go out and discover stuff so they can actually distribute it back down to the masses. That's the way it was in ancient Egypt. In ancient Egypt, you took a portion of your boys, more likely it was your boys, because to give up a male body was very, very difficult because the work was hard. And if you gave up a male body, that was a sacrifice for the family, because that was labor that was not provided to the family, and you basically give it to the temple so that boy would be educated over the next 40 years, and he can go back and teach your family. It wasn't just, you weren't just giving him away to give him away. He's supposed to go get educated and come back and teach your family, actually lift your family by educating them. That's what the talented 10th is supposed to do.
So what's this bullshit about male disposability and why they throwing away male bodies to sacrificing them on the altar of feminism, if we could potentially be so much more valuable if trained and raised to be a more productive society or group of people.
And one thing, when they talk about male disposability, they're not talking about educated lames.
Oh, okay.
They're not talking about you. There's a certain segment of men that are what they want to call them disposable. The regular Joes that they can't make the grade, they can't make that cut. Those are what they call it. They've been white folks have been calling those people waste people for a long time. The poor white trash, or there's a whole bunch of terms for it. Common guys.
We actually have an actual slang term which is based on an English term, an old English term. A lot of our newer day now, a lot of our slang is actually based on old terms. So if we actually use the term waste men to describe people who have no value here, equally youth, some as young as 5 or 3 use the same term. So I didn't know that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a book called White Trash, and she goes through all the she goes through the terms. That's where the classes came from. In other words, if a smart kid like you, even if you were lower class, they would actually come in and guess what, scoop you up.
Yeah.
And add you to their particular their class.
Oh yeah, it was. And that's exactly what kind of happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's more prevalent in a class society like Britain, where there is still a class structure, whereas in the United States it's more amorphous. Even though it's starting to form into a class structure. That's what gentrification of the black community is about. It's more about class than race. In other words, basically what they're going to do is they're going to get rid of the black community, the ghetto per se, and basically mix the upper class people in with the other upper class black people, and basically all the white people and black people that don't fit that description or can't earn that money, they're going to be pushed out into the hinterlands. They're forcing black and white people to mix according to class.
So they really are assimilating you guys then.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, because you guys have such a small group of black people, it's not very hard to assimilate. Plus, you guys don't have that. You don't have the same what can I say? Cultural history of racism that America has.
No, we don't. No.
Great Britain is basically built on class more than it is about race, even still today. If you're a black guy and you have royal blood in you, then you're part of the royal class. It doesn't matter what your color is. You might be a little bit less liked in your particular class, but you're still upper class. If you got a sir in front of your name, then you're part of that class, regardless of color. But in America, it was built upon they adopted partially basically the Spanish caste system.
So where do you see the Hebrew Israelites going then? Because at the end of the day, if we're still supposed to use educated people and talented men, and the Hebrew Israelites aren't really part of that group, because I can't see them being very successful in universities and stuff like that.
Well, the thing is that maybe the regular guys in Hebrew Israelites probably aren't that, but the thing is the guys with the charisma normally are the brighter men.
Okay.
Normally, I'm not saying I don't know enough about the group, but the guys the guys of the upper tier of Hebrew Israelite are sharp guys. These guys are educated. These guys are no dummies.
Okay.
Yeah, Black Ram.
Yeah, these guys are educated. Some guys are formally educated, some guys are not, but these guys are sharp.
Definitely. I
they're
think
not dummies. And the thing is, because of race, every kid with a high IQ, every kid that has the potential does not always make it through the system into the educational community, and sometimes. And sometimes because of their testosterone, they don't make it. They can't accept the programming.
Yeah, that was nearly me. Yeah.
But they do. I don't know. It just feels like they're painting themselves as targets by joining a group that clearly could be targeted for destruction if that was ever going to be a case.
Uh, I mean, I know a little bit about them. I don't know enough about them to actually speak on them in particular. But the thing is, it is just like I think I would look at the Hebrew Israelites the same way that I would look at the Black Muslims back in the 50s and 60s. It's essentially the same kind of group.
Not doomed to fail.
There's Muslims are still around. They're still prosperous. I mean, it's a niche group still. But the thing is that I don't see them when you say failing. Failing means going out of existence. But I see them along the same track as the Black Muslims. In fact, they're starting basically the same way as Black Muslims by the smarter people actually going on the street and recruiting people to come in and forming a group along principles almost the same as the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Almost. So I see them almost as the millennial version of, or the Generation X version of the Black Muslims back in amongst the World War II generation, or even the Boomer generation, by bringing manhood back to Black men. In a sense, I mean, I can't speak. This is just me from the outside looking in.
Black women going to
Well, we got Hebrew Israelites in the group. You can ask them.
I would like to ask you guys, how are Black women taking to your group? Because I see a lot of males, I see a lot of testosterone. I don't, they're going to take a lot of things that you say as misogyny. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it is. I don't even agree with that assessment.
Hey, let me
I'll
speak
just
on
say
this.
that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, please.
As a Hebrew Israelite, Black women, westernized Black women hate us. Because you got to understand, westernized Black women love pagan holidays. They love Christmas. They love Halloween. They love showing off and taking Instagram pictures. So now if you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're against pagan holidays. So how is a Black woman going to agree with that? Knowing that you don't celebrate Christmas, so now she can't go to her family's home and bring presents and take pictures and celebrate those pagan holidays. And then as a Hebrew Israelite, the Bible tells you that the woman is supposed to basically shut up and not be able to teach. She's supposed to listen to her man. Because if you listen to the Bible, it tells you that the Bible is speaking in the reference of a patriarchy. And women love that matriarchy. So if you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're about patriarchy. You're about knowing that you're the king of the home, and everybody under you, and everybody in the home is under you, because the Bible says that it first goes God, Christ, man, woman, then child. Right. No, the Black women think it's God, Jesus, woman, child, then man. Yeah, and you have to. So if you're Hebrew, like I was talking to a brother, I think it was on Ron Will's comment section. You brothers think it's hard for you to get a woman out here. Imagine being a Hebrew Israelite, man.
Yeah, it sounds impossible, man.
It's impossible, because unless you're with those Hebrew Israelite camps, you're not going to find a woman. And even if she's a Hebrew Israelite, that doesn't mean that she's following the direct orders, because a lot of Hebrew Israelites are some rogue Hebrew Israelites.
So what is the solution to it then? That's what I wanted to ask you. Like, have you guys got something that will replace Instagram? Have you guys got something that will replace a pagan holiday such as Christmas? Do you guys have the fun stuff?
You have your Passover, you have your different Hebrew Israelite holidays, but you got to understand that Black women love a lifestyle. Yeah. Black women love a lifestyle, meaning that they're not looking for a certain man that's going to provide them for, certain different things. They're looking for a man that's going to provide them with a lifestyle. They want to be that. They want to take pictures. They want to be in, they want to take selfies. They're looking for a lifestyle. And Hebrew is like, they're not concerned about a lifestyle. They're more concerned about living. Pragmatic.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, there was back in the 90s, there was a Christian group, a Christian movement called the Promise Keepers that almost said the exact same thing. Bill, I'm trying to remember his last name. But if you look up the Promise Keepers, and I think their last big event was like 1999, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, the feminists killed that movement. And they were saying the exact same thing, bringing, training men to be the head of the household again. You know, basically taking responsibility for their families and taking leadership for their families through, they said the same thing. God first. Well, they said Jesus second, and then the man. And the man was supposed to take it, be responsible, provide, and protect, and lead his house. Feminist movement killed that. They killed that movement, and those were white. Those were white men.
So it clearly can't be dealt with. Then it sounds like it's a universal problem.
Yes.
If that's the case, then I want to know how are Hebrew Israelites going to deal with that, or are they just going to cater to a completely different kind of woman altogether? Because you can circumvent them. That's cool. It's just
we believe in a 2/3, 1/3 theory. 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed, and you can look at it as what you have the nation of gods and earth. You have the 85%, the 5%, and 10%. You can kind of correlate it to that. Have 2/3 of our people won't change, and that's the truth, because you got 2/3 of black women who just ain't shit.
Right.
They're the women who complain about 24/7, and you got 2/3 of black men, simps, pussy beggars, guys that we can't stand, that we argue about. So now you have the 1/3 of our people who are actually, who are going to follow the laws, and who are actually going to rise up out of this mess that we're in. So the people that we are catering to is to the 1/3, because honestly, the 2/3 of our people, you can't change them.
No,
they're the bad bitches, they're the coons, they're the people that we can't stand. They're the agents basically the agents that were working against Marcus Garvey while he was trying to build and get our people to a place where we can have our own rulership. They're the agents that we're working against.
Okay. I know we got a lot of people on the line, and we don't have I got maybe 30 more minutes. So the people that haven't spoke that want to get in, jump in.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to give people an opportunity, because I don't have a whole lot I don't have 8 hours like I normally would have. Anybody else that I see people here on the call? Do you guys want to get in, or you guys just listening, or what?
I want to see what Donald Trump's going to do about this situation.
Donald Trump is going to change. Donald Trump doesn't have to do anything but change the environment, because culture is shaped by the environment, and it's already starting to change black women's attitudes. They're a whole lot less feisty now since Donald Trump was elected. They're not as vicious as they were, because a year ago, I put something up that I put up against Chrissy. Man, there's been a whole lot of viciousness coming out. You don't see that. They've been literally cussing me out, but you don't see that. So in other words, the environment is already starting to change. So they'll change. So that's a benefit of Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some guys beating women up in the streets in America. Like one guy beat a woman pretty badly, a black woman, with a wet floor sign or something.
Yeah, yep, in Nevada.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
I guarantee you now, a lot of black women ain't going to step up to a bunch of guys. Not saying that this is a good thing. I'm just saying that that's what's happened.
It was a white guy. It was a white guy. And
he was a Mexican.
Was he Mexican?
Yeah, he was a Mexican.
Okay. Okay. She's going through a drive-through. A fast food chain. She's going through a drive-through. Somebody said a slur to her. She parked and got out of her car to confront this guy instead of taking her little happy tail home with her food and go and winding up her window and going about her merry way. I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna confront this guy, and I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. And then you're gonna try to get physical with a man, because you think that the law is gonna protect you, and you think that you're better than him. You think that he's gonna back down. He didn't back down. I see a lot of that going on now. Men know the environment is changing, and they don't. Go ahead.
Just like with the bus uppercutting that woman.
Oh
I feel
yeah,
like if you want
he's
equal
old.
rights,
He's old school. So
you
yeah.
don't.
That was some Street Fighter cool stuff, man.
Huh? Excuse me.
And if you look on World Star and some of these YouTube videos, there was one that just dropped recently where a guy was getting beat up in the bathroom. Now I don't know if that was a transvestite, but a lot of these women are putting their hands on these feminized men.
Right.
And me personally, I'm not the type of one to go out there and just put my hands on a woman. But if you put your hands on, well, you got to understand, we live in a society where people are different. You got people out there raping women, killing people, molesting children. So if you, like somebody told me, don't test people because you don't understand, you don't know where they're going to push it. Because you might show up to a fight with a knife, but they're going to show up with a gun. Right. So if you're a woman thinking that you're going to put your hands on a man and he's just going to say, oh, I'm sorry, or he's just going to, basically hold you up so somebody can save him. Nah, these men are going to put their hands on you and whoop your ass.
Yeah. Well, you're probably too young to remember the switchover. The switchover came right after the OJ trial. After the OJ trial, that's when all those violence against women acts actually came out, where men were forbidden to put their hands on women, literally. And you could actually go to jail. You actually would take you down, arrest you, and take you away for putting your hands on a woman. Before that, women weren't doing all that kind of shit, man, because they know they get the crap slapped out of them. That's just all that stuff is about 20 years old. Huh? Excuse me?
I think it's switching over nowadays because with police, when they show up to an incident, if the man has just as much scratches as the woman, they're basically going to null and void the situation as far as not taking the man to jail. But
right.
I don't know. It depends on the situation and the cops.
Yep. Before that, man, it was a domestic violence dispute. Okay, if she mouthed off and y'all got into a fight, as long as you didn't kill her or break any bones, they'd walk away.
But women are more violent than men because I went to an all-black high school and most of the fights were between women. My sister got into like several fights.
It's the same thing. I used to a guy that was like 10 years younger than me when he was a kid, and I was actually older than him. And they said, well, when do boys stop fighting? I said, when they turn to men. He said, why? Because when men fight, they do a hell of a lot more damage.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Because you got to understand when that bus driver got spit on by that woman, you got to understand, men know something. If you spit on another man, you automatically know hands are being thrown. But when women spit on a man, they don't expect the man to hit them back.
Yeah.
But when men know that if they spit on another man, that's basically automatic combat.
Yeah, women know that because women don't like to be spit on. They know that's automatic. That's an automatic fight to be spit on. That's all over the world, spitting on another person is an automatic universal sign for disrespect.
It's worse than a punch.
It's worse than a punch. Universal sign of being disrespect when you spit on somebody. I know, Ron, were you trying to get in?
Let's see, the so-called alpha males, right? In the context of the 21st century, because from my perspective, I could be inaccurate. There's like two forms of it. You got the prototype, muscular, beat your motherfucking head. And now in this artificial society, you got motherfuckers that could be a short, fat motherfucker with the bread, right? Specifically the ones, well, I'll just encapsulate all of them. Do you tell me if you think that there are any dangers in the context of the 21st century of alpha males to other males? Are they dangerous, generally speaking, or not?
No, alpha male. Well, you can't be an alpha male without followers. You can't. So no, they're not dangerous to the group. The thing is, they're integral to the group. So in other words, you can't have all alpha males because they'll kill each other. So they have to. They're there to gather the group, not destroy the group.
I guess the context that I'm trying to bring is, one particular aspect of female nature that I've observed where I'm from, Detroit, is the so-called alpha males could be wielded easily because they're kind of like dime pieces,
Mm-hmm.
hedonistic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and seeking validation for that proverbial pat on the head. You a
Yeah.
man, and so they're easily wielded to go beat a motherfucker head in. That's the context. I mean,
Oh, you're talking about well, those aren't alpha males. Those are brute simps. Those are basic betas that have those are betas that are physical because
Bob about that, didn't he? The alpha male brute. No, beta.
well they're the beta brutes. They're
Yeah, the beta.
followers. Alphas aren't followers. An alpha is not going to go. An alpha male, even a rough, tough alpha male, is protecting his pride. If a woman comes to him about wanting to hurt somebody, he's going to ask why. He's not going to just take her word for it. Because any alpha anybody that's ever been in combat knows you can be easily killed. And alpha males aren't stupid.
Yeah.
They didn't get to where they are just by being stupid. So an alpha male is not an alpha male. No matter what his size is, he's going to ask what's wrong first, and then he's going to assess the situation. And then if there's punishment that needs to be meted out, he'll deal with it. But he's not going to go beat somebody's head in just on her say so because she's beneath him. You don't order me around. It's the betas. It's the betas that are chasing after pussy, and they're physical enough that will actually go bash a guy's head in over some pussy. Alpha male's not going to do that. Those are betas, and those are dangerous. A beta that believes he's an alpha male is more dangerous than any other man on the planet.
do you think those are more prevalent in America specifically?
Um, they probably are more prevalent in America more than to say any other place. Because there's more betas because they were actually trained to be betas. Like I said, betas are made. They're not. They're not born.
So you're saying that an alpha has this instinctual leadership qualities that can be
Yes.
honed, and
Yes.
there are
Yes.
no alpha males with those qualities, who may, through the goddamn training of this society, could be inculcated to behave more like what you call a beta brute.
Just because you're the biggest person in the room, you're physically bigger than any other person in the room, doesn't mean you're an alpha. I remember there was a very good story called Mice and Men, where you had Lenny, I think his name was Lenny, and you had the big
Yeah, it was like
Lenny, and you had the big brute, the big beta brute who was bigger than everybody else. But he did what Lenny said. Lenny was his alpha. He's bigger than everybody else. That's the difference between an alpha and a beta brute. And what we've seen a lot is a beta brute.
Absolutely, you covered that earlier, and I understood it. That's why I'm just talking about from your perspective
Okay.
of what you deem as an alpha. Put
Right.
that in.
Yeah.
What I was saying is
Yeah.
possible for them to be trained.
Alpha male of the group is supposed to be the leader of the group. That's an alpha. Even though Shaquille O'Neal was 300 pounds, he was an alpha because he led his team. He led the group. And you had two alphas on the team, which is Kobe and Shaq, and they banged heads because they each wanted to lead the group. So it has nothing to do with your physicality. I mean, it helps if you're bigger than everybody else, but the thing is that because you're bigger than everybody else doesn't mean you're an alpha.
So, like a general would be considered more of an alpha, someone who's put in that position.
He's put in that position. He has to earn that position. He has to prove that he's a leader of men
from his merit.
From his merit, exactly. That's what men require. Men require a proof of merit before they follow.
I remember reading some literature a long time ago, and it was like a Roman general, right?
Hmm.
In this letter, he said something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing now, that we run the world and our women run us.
In other words, you basically, if you want to have a family, well, basically, okay. Remember the old saying of the hand that rocks the cradle
Yeah.
rules the world, because who trains the children? The women train the children. So in other words, you can't have a society. You can't have a society where women don't agree, because they're the ones that train the children. Eventually, the society will be shaped by the women. Eventually, because they carry the moral. They carry the moral center.
This is one reason I was talking about the Hebrew Israelites, because it seems like they seem very like there's a domineering aspect to it in which the women are going to rebel if you carry on in that fashion. I'm not saying I disagree with them, I'm just saying that it seems not conducive.
Okay, this is coming from pimp game, and a lot of people, because pimps really don't explain themselves very well. Okay, because they're pimps and not analysts. This is just pimp game. Okay, and I can't remember which pimp said that. A pimp, will not accept a woman that doesn't want to be a hoe, because he's gonna reject all the women that are not part of his program. Either you want to be part of this program or you don't. Same thing with his Hebrew Israelites. They're looking for women that want to be part of their program.
Okay, so it's not a case of just wide casting,
No,
then narrow
no,
casting.
they're narrow cast because they have to. You can't build a society where women don't agree. That's why I don't agree in what Sarge Willie Pete says, which is bribing women to build your society. If women want to live in a fucked up society, then so be it. There's nothing you can do about it. You should not have to bribe or beg a woman to follow your agenda. Either she wants to do it or she doesn't. Because if she's not looking for gifts and trinkets from Pookie and Ray Ray, is she? Because he doesn't have any. So why is she following him around like a lost puppy? He don't have to tell her to follow his agenda. She does it. Same thing with anything else. I would tell any man, and I've been that way all my life. I don't care how pretty the woman is, and I've had some pretty women, and I've turned down a lot of even prettier women. If you're not gonna follow my agenda, you might as well step off right now. Then they say, why? Well, you got to prove something. I don't have to prove shit. That's what I said about Chrissy, about educated lame. They don't have to prove shit. If you believe that this guy's going someplace, you're going to get on his train. If not, get off the fucking bus. Stop whining.
Now, BGS,
Yes.
you said the hand that rocks the cradle thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be like equivalent to culture?
Yeah. Women.
Okay.
Who was it? I'm trying to remember his name. If I can find it. This is back when we had the book clubs, and then our teachers, our conscious community, or our pro-black teachers, there was no media. You had to actually be there in the room and reading his books and asking him questions, just like Socrates or something like that. It was Dale Jones, and he says women transmit culture. That is their one job. If nothing else, Hebrew Israelites will tell you the same thing. Her job is to transmit the culture of the society to the children. And when women don't do that,
with that being said, oh my bad, go ahead.
no, finish. I want to hear your question.
If that's true, generally speaking, I could be inaccurate about this. Males, generally speaking, create culture, right? And females are the facilitators
Exactly.
of that culture, right?
Of their culture, yes.
So pretty much they are following males.
Yes, they're following
You ain't
males.
know, right? They're following the
They're
program,
following.
right?
They're following the program. So when
Well,
so when I say the women get mad, like they're getting mad at me when I said during the '80s is when the society, black society flipped because women followed the culture of the lowest common denominator. They got swayed by the money. They got turned out by the drugs, right? So
Why?
basically,
Why?
and they and since they're the transmitter of culture, what culture got transmitted?
Thug life.
Good point.
Hmm? Excuse me.
Thug life.
Go ahead, brother. I didn't
go
hear
ahead,
what you
brother. I
said.
didn't hear what you said.
It was thug life. That's what they subscribe to, and that's what we're living in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why? Because it was easy. I think you said because it was easy, right?
It was easy, and they. I remember anybody see the movie Wall Street, um, with Michael Douglas.
I love that movie.
Yeah, he said greed is good,
Greed
and
works.
but in other words, there's no morality around um, earning money and doing the right thing for the society, so that everybody that you would prosper and your society would prosper. That went out the window. Greed became good. If you think, because Chrissy's talking about that the thugs were talking about rebellion. No, they weren't. What did they were talking about? Getting what? Getting their money, driving their cars, selling their dope, making their living the fast life, and they didn't, and all the trinkets and objects they threw up weren't revolutionary. It was what the big rims and the big trucks, right? The Mercedes that were blinged out and all the blinged out the bling life, right? In other words, that's just nothing but American capitalism on steroids.
It was decadence.
It was decadence. Okay, I got a brother.
BGS.
You got a brother driving a truck. He's got his mic open. You want to say something, bro?
Oh, matter of
Yeah.
fact,
No.
Oh shit.
We got to try to get somebody new in. He just popped up. You
Okay.
want to say something?
you know, brother, it's me, Wilsonian Garvey.
Oh, okay, brother. What's going on, man? You working? Oh, okay. I know you're working, man. So go ahead and mute your mic unless you want to ask a question real quick.
No, you know what? I didn't want to get off tangent, but I will say this. I had the opportunity to speak to Brother Umar Johnson. I know you've been in the community for quite some time. Obviously,
Uh-huh.
you will. I'm pretty sure you all are well aware of the situation between him and Sarah Suit Seti. With that being said, I mean, again, me and Brother Umar, we're cool. We're cool.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I spoke to him. I
Uh-huh.
gave him my piece.
Mhm.
The reason why I'm even mentioning Brother Umar is because, it's funny that the title of the video is "Detractors" because, a lot of brothers feel some type of way about Brother Umar. Now, you being in the community and you possibly knowing who you know, you probably spoken to Brother Umar plenty of times. But I will say this.
I've never
I will say.
I've never spoken to him directly. I mean, I think I have once or twice. But the thing is, there's the consensus amongst the old timers in our consciousness community is still up in the air about him. They said he might need a little help because they think he may have had a break, somewhere.
And I'm going to say this slightly. I don't want to say, well, this is where I come in,
Mhm.
but learning from as much as I learned from you and a lot of brothers.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, he was out. I was in Atlanta. And he had a show at the Shrine at the Black Madonna. So me being
Mhm.
in Orlando, he actually had a show in Orlando in Jacksonville. I missed the one in Orlando, but I went to Jacksonville. That's where me and him, we caught up or what have you. He told me to come out. I went out there or what have you. I did a security detail for lack of a better term.
Mhm.
We all got a bite to eat and we spoke and we built. It was me and a few others. And, a lot of the things that, whether it be you, Obsidian, or what have you, I
Mm-hmm.
brought on the table, especially when it comes to, black male, black woman relationships or what have it, what
Mm-hmm.
have you, to the point where the conversation was real candid or what
Mm-hmm.
have you. So I say all of this because obviously I think personally, if not the other gentleman wouldn't believe so too. I think that you can I'll use the word legitimize for lack of a better term, where he's coming from. And I think that you have a lot of insight that would help not only Brother Umar's cause but our cause overall. But again, I don't know your attitude towards the situation or how his temperament is or what have you. So I mean, again, I'm throwing it out there.
Well, I hesitate to speak on people in the conscious community if they're doing good work. If they're doing good work and they're not harming people, they're actually pushing people in the right direction. Um, their own personal foibles, I kind of leave. I don't really comment on them very much. Even here on YouTube, I don't really get into the squabbles or the debates between YouTubers, right? If they're not abusive and they're doing good work, I pretty much leave them alone. I let them work it out. And Dr. Umar, we did have a discussion about Dr. Umar yesterday amongst a few people that are in the community, and they're still they're still waiting to see what the fallout's going to be before they actually weigh in. But in the background, um, I didn't really see all of what happened, but in the background, they're saying that they're not pleased about what has gone down, and they said Brother Umar may need somebody to come in and to actually talk to him, you know, to kind of get him back on track. So I don't really want to say anything publicly because I haven't really investigated it, and I haven't got a consensus about what's going on with the conscious community and how they feel about it. So, like I said, until I know more. Um, I can't really speak on it because so far, much of his work I have supported because he is saying the right things and he's pushing black people in the right direction and he's giving them good information. And anybody that does that, I don't really have a problem with. Their personal life is their personal life as long as they're not hurting people. But there was some things said about Dr. Umar about his temperament and whatnot. But like I said, that's a guess. And until I know more, I'll do you. I'll make you guys a promise. If there's something that's solid that I can put out there, I'll put it out. But for right now, I don't. If that's fair.
I, I
Hey,
will say,
hello.
Go
yes.
ahead, Hustle a bit.
As far as Umar Johnson concerned, as far as Chicago, I mean, it's been some reports that he's not been forthcoming in terms of his dealings with people here in this town.
Uh-huh.
And right now I'm dealing with some people now, and we're actually in the process of trying to put put together some programs so we can
Mm-hmm.
helping some of these young men out here because we are in a crisis situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Umar Johnson, he's not even welcome back into Chicago.
Okay.
They basically told him,
We don't
hey,
need you, huh?
yeah, we don't need you, and we don't want you coming back here because
Okay.
the brother from, and I don't know how true this is. I mean, this
Uh-huh.
is just some things that I've heard,
Mm.
but he's, some things, some business dealings he had with certain people, and
Right.
certain people didn't get paid. I don't know how
Right.
true that is.
That happens all the time. Yeah.
Yep. So
Yep.
that's why he's no longer welcome here in this town.
Yeah.
And right now we, as you well know, we've had, I don't know if you've been watching the news. We had like 50 shootings
Yeah.
in a day.
Yeah. Yeah. And because because this went on in Los Angeles. I mean, you probably heard what I talked about the crack era when I was coming up, man. It
Yeah,
probably
yeah, oh yeah.
models exactly what Chicago. In fact, it's almost to the T about what's going on in Chicago now. It's a drug war, and the thing
Yeah.
is, it's fueled by money, basically by the Chicago banks, more or less. If you don't go after them, it'll never. Basically, it won't happen. It won't be. Uh, it won't be over. Because, like I said, the only thing that stopped the drug war and what was going on in Los Angeles was the riot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the only thing that stopped it. If it wasn't for that '92 riot, especially during an election year, there's no telling what Los Angeles would be like, and especially probably nationwide, the black community nationwide. That's the only thing that stopped the momentum of the crack era was the LA riots in '92. Basically they took all the money and all the drugs out of the hands of black people and put it
Right.
into Hispanic hands.
Um, I don't know if you heard this, but Donald Trump basically, in so many words, threatened to send in the feds if Rahm Emanuel didn't do something about these shootings, because
Right.
people are calling for him to actually bring the government in to take care of this mess. So but it's going, they're trying to come with a law enforcement solution, and that's just not going to work. This is an extremely segregated city.
Uh-huh.
A lot of those communities, basically most of the shootings are happening in five communities in Chicago. There are 77 communities in Chicago. It's only really happening in those five particular communities. The west side and the south side. On the west side, you got Austin, the Austin community. You got West Lawn, you got North Lawndale, you got West Humboldt Park.
Right.
You got Roseland on the
Right.
south side, and Inglewood.
Mm-hmm.
So those are where most of the shootings and things are going on. And there have been some reports of gun thefts from the rail systems here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It goes all
Chicago's a
the way
hub.
goes all the way back to what, baby? Remember Boys from the Hood?
Yeah.
Didn't they say exactly the same thing?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. The only if it were me, if I was in Chicago and I was saying that, I'd probably get in a whole lot of trouble. I probably wouldn't live very long if I said it. The only thing is, black people are gonna have to get together, do what they did in New York when they would stop and frisk. Start, if you got black banks, take the money out of the big white banks, because the fractional reserve limit is so high that they can't afford to lose any dollars, and say, look, if you don't do something about funding this drug war, because we know you're basically laundering the money, what we're going to do is basically start taking all legitimate money, black money, out of your banks and put them in black banks, to basically starve you out until you do something about this.
Mm-hmm.
We know that you're laundering the money, the drug money, to make a profit. But the thing is, if you don't get with these people and calm these people down, I said, we can't stop you from dealing the drugs, but at least you can stop the violence. So in other words, you have to hit the banks. That's what I would do.
Well, there's you may want to look this up online, but there's a infamous case that goes back to the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Austin Seven. In Austin Seven, where they attempted to, well, actually they convicted 7 police officers
Mm-hmm.
for allegedly ripping off drug dealers.
Mm-hmm.
And what we find out some years later is that actually what they did was, there were 2 particular officers who closed down 85% of the drug houses on the west side.
Mm-hmm.
They single-handedly did this. The
Mm-hmm.
2 officers, with their team. They closed down 85% of the drug houses on the west side.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, somebody who knows who it was got upset, and they tried to set those guys up.
Mm-hmm.
As a result of it, um, they they accused 7 officers of stealing and shaking down drug dealers, and they tried to get these officers to lie on 2 other officers.
Uh-huh.
And of course, they didn't do it. They wouldn't do it, and they ended up locking one of them up for like 100 and some years.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So what's happening here, man? There's a lot of corruption going on.
Yeah. Oh, really? Chicago? No. Really?
So,
Okay.
so we gotta, we fighting an uphill battle here, man, because we got a lot of young people just being killed for nothing, man. It's not just drugs, but it's petty squabbles and
Yeah.
beats.
Yeah. It gets out. Yeah. You
Bad
basically.
blood.
Yeah. Basically, what you're doing is you taking the people. It's just like in Los Angeles. You're taking people that are the lowest common denominator and giving them power.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think is going to come out of it? They're uneducated, low IQ, low skilled people.
Yeah.
Emotionally unstable people.
Very unstable.
And you're giving them money and you're giving them guns. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, honestly, they don't have no money. A lot of these kids can't even afford a Happy Meal, but they got 9mm weapons. They got they got SIG 226 40 caliber pistols, but they can't afford a damn a dollar meal from McDonald's. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but somebody's supplying them with the guns.
Yeah.
Who's that?
That's the thing. Everybody.
The people with the money. People with the money are supplying them with the guns.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
You gotta take the money out of it. It may. I hope it doesn't take that. I really do. I said, I hope it doesn't take burning down half of Chicago to actually get rid of this plague. But it may, because eventually it's going to head to that, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to blow up.
Yeah, I think that's why Trump was talking about sending in the feds, and
how do you feel about it? Or at your wits' end and say, you know what, anything's better than this, or what?
Well, I'm not saying that I'm welcoming that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that are. My thing is, I'm just gonna try to do what I can do from a grassroots level and get out here and try to help some young people and offer some alternatives and give them some knowledge and so actually I'm gonna offer to train some young men to drive trucks so they can get their CDLs and they can get jobs or whatever. So actually I'm in the process of organizing something like that right now with some other brothers, sisters who are trying to do something. Because what's the point of trying to, just sitting around complaining when I got a skill, I can offer to somebody that can get them out of a situation, that they're in, So I think that's one of the things that people are going to have to do. They're going to have to give, their skills and talents to some of these young people so they can get out of their own personal circumstances. So it's doing something better than nothing right now.
You got it.
It's got to the point where you can't even, there's certain areas where you can't drive through because these little guys, they standing out on the corner. They got their guns, and if they don't recognize who you are, they shooting. That's what they doing.
Well, you're gonna have go ahead.
One question, brother. Do you think it'll ever get back to the to the days of when did it peak? I think it was 1973, and I think 1991, 203. Do you ever think it'll get back, or do you think it's on the way of going from 700 murders up to 900 murders at this point? Or do you think that there's an obvious narrative about Chicago being the way it is? I'm not doubting the the violence or the mayhem that's going on in Chicago, but if it's also not at 900 murders as it was once in the past. So do you think that the current climate in the hood will take it to that one point, or do you think that there will be a plain intervention before allowed, especially under Trump's administration, before he allows it to get to 800, 750, 800, 850, 900 murders?
Well, I think that I think more than likely I think some federal intervention will come
Yeah,
because
I think so too.
he's already mentioned it twice. He's already mentioned it twice, and basically he told Emmanuel, he said, "Look, he said, if you need help, we'll send some resources down there and help you, But Emmanuel,
I got something to say.
Okay,
The Fed.
no, let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish, and then you can come in. Go
but
ahead, finish.
Emmanuel, the way things are happening. See, the thing is, the mayor here has a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of power, and Chicago is a home rule state. I mean, city.
Yeah.
They don't really answer to Springfield, which is the capital. They really don't do it like that. So there's a lot of this is a Democratic stronghold, so they're not gonna want that kind. They've already under scrutiny from the Justice Department for all this corruption, and police shootings, and all the stuff that's been going on here. So they don't want any more federal scrutiny. So I don't know. I believe it's going to come, but all I can do is do what I can do for the few people that I can do it for.
Okay. All right, brother. Go ahead and jump in.
I feel like nobody's recognizing that the feds that's supposed to come into the black community is AKA the firing squad. They're going to come in there. They're not going to try to reason. What they're going to do is they're going to come in there and they're going to kill all those brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this problem, you have to start from the ground up. You can't just think you're going to kill off all these brothers and everything's going to change. You're going to have to provide them with something. Fix up the schools, fix up the community, do something. Because what they're doing is what the money that he's going to be given to the mayor and to the police department is the money that they're going to use to kill these brothers. It's not money that they're going to put forth towards the community as far as to build up the community. They're just going to go in there and kill all them brothers, all those those young kids.
No. He's
in Chicago. He's in Chicago. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Hostile.
This was going to happen. Number one, as you've been telling us for the last year, BGS, they're already gentrifying traditionally black areas.
Mm-hmm.
Over the last, I think, 10 years, the South Side has already lost over 200,000 people in terms of demographics. The population, people have moved away.
Right.
For various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The West Loop and the South Loop areas, these areas are expanding. They're doing a lot of building right now. And in these traditionally black areas, you're starting to see different ethnic groups moving in.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have left in terms of populations of black folks, they're gonna start thinning out even more and more and more.
Yeah, and that'll solve the problem.
Yeah, that's what's it's already happening.
It's already happening. Yeah, that's. I mean, if they really, the reason they don't do this already, and I'm gonna tell you, brother, from New York, reason they don't do this is because they need a distribution point that's not in the white community. Okay, Chicago is the hub for a whole bunch of cities and states to
Right.
distribute drugs from
That's right.
for a host of reasons. So that's how come they haven't broken up. They could because I'm not in Chicago, but I would assume that most of those poor women there or poor people there are on what Section 8 or whatever, right?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of they don't have a lot of uh
Projects.
no, they tore a lot of those down, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the ones that they do have left
Mm-hmm.
low level, and they're controlled. They rehabbed a lot of those, and they're
Mm-hmm.
very selective in who they give those property, those units to. But most of the see, that's another problem too. What they did when they tore down those projects, they took those people and they spread them out into certain areas. So what
Mm-hmm.
ended up happening is you got one gang mixing in with another gang.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the conflict started.
And what I'm
That's
saying
why.
is, the people, the problems where they are the people. Do the people own the properties,
No,
or they rent them, or they're on some kind of government assistance?
they Section 8. They a lot of it is Section 8 housing, but
They
it's
could
scattered.
they could easily do. They all they have to do. Oh, if Chicago really wanted to get rid of the problem, they revoke all the Section 8 vouchers in that area.
Well, they already got a
And
hold on them anyway. They got a hold on
yeah.
them. They got a hold on them right now. It's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of issues right now with affordable housing. They
Mm-hmm.
got they got a brick on that right now.
Yeah. And
They're not giving out any vouchers right
another what I'm saying is,
now. Right.
in other words, if Chicago wanted to get rid of the problem, all the because the root of the problem is partially the male and partially the female,
Hmm.
because those guys don't have any place to stay
No, they don't.
without their mother or their sister or their girlfriend or whatever. They don't have any place to stay.
That's right.
So if you tie, a lot of the gang violence in Los Angeles, when they decided they didn't want it anymore, they basically tied their Section 8 to um, any gang violence in the house.
Right. Right.
In other words, if drugs are sold in your house, or there's a felon in your house or whatever, you will lose your Section 8. And
Yeah.
the women start kicking these guys out of the house, and then all of a sudden the problem kind of went away because I can't lose my place to live if you're doing this knuckleheaded shit.
Yep. That's exactly what they're doing here, though.
Yep.
Oh,
But seeing so now you see the gang, it started to be being concentrated in smaller and smaller areas, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
You're right. Yep. That's it.
exactly. They could get rid of it if they want to. They don't have to kill anybody.
Right. Right.
What they have to do, all they have to do is take a just take at random, take, like, say, if there's 100 houses, they're all in Section 8. You take 10 of them, you spread them out throughout the whole state.
Hmm.
If you want Section 8, you got to go to wherever in the state, someplace somewhere out in the suburbs or even out in the country. If you want to live in one Section 8, this is where we have for you, and so on and so forth. They could spread them out, and that
Yeah.
will eliminate all the gang violence because they couldn't form up
Well, the thing
because they
is,
have no place to live. Go ahead.
they had a problem some years back where certain certain South suburban areas, townships, and villages accepted a certain amount of some of vouchers,
Mm-hmm.
Section 8 vouchers, and
Mm-hmm.
you had cities like Calumet City, which is south of Chicago. They
Mm-hmm.
large concentration of Section 8 housing residents,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Mm-hmm.
major problems,
Yeah.
major problems.
What did you said? What is the key word in that sentence?
Uh,
Concentrated.
concentration, yeah,
Spread them out.
yep. That's why they stopped. You
Hmm.
can't get a voucher right now
Yeah.
because because of these problems. These they say problem folks. You know, um, so right now, I was talking to an activist, I think a week ago, and he was saying Right now, you can't even you can't even get a voucher. You can't even get one.
Yeah. But one, there's no money, and number one, two,
Right.
Trump's coming in, and they're going to kill most of the vouchers anyway.
Yeah. Exactly. And he told me that. He told me. He said, yeah. He said they looking, they looking, in terms of the next year or two. They're looking at that there are going to be major problems in the state. Because number
Mm-hmm.
one, they don't even have a balanced budget. They haven't had a balanced budget in 2 years.
Yeah.
They've been, because they're fighting with the Republican governor. This is a heavily Democratic
Yeah.
state. I mean,
Yeah.
city.
You can't balance the budget because of the pension plans.
Yep, the
Illinois
pension
has
plans
a
are
big
screwed
pension
up.
plans. Yeah, because they've underfunded the pension plans, and that's where the
Yep.
budget's getting all screwed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Damn, man. That's exactly what it is.
What?
They just
Like I
they
said,
just rate they just raised my property taxes.
yeah. What I'm saying is, people think because what they see, all I know is what I put on my channel. It's not.
Right.
Because you get in a hangout with me, you find out exactly what the breadth of my knowledge actually is. So
Yeah, that's why I be telling folks, hey, you need to listen. A lot of
yeah,
people wanna they wanna challenge you or whatever. It's best to just listen, and then once you understand, the breadth of the knowledge that you're getting, then you can apply it to the
hmm
environment that you're in. It's like, damn, he's absolutely right. That makes sense.
yeah,
You know.
yeah,
So
yeah. Basically, that's how come. I mean, I could. I mean, I know I could easily go on to the what they call the Hotep circuit, right? What you guys call the Hotep circuit, right?
yep, it makes
They all say get you write you a couple of books, get your PowerPoint and your presentations together. We can go out on the circuit and make some money.
yeah.
They, I mean, you guys are in my. I got you guys listen to my fucking 8 hour hangouts, okay?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You listen to my eight. I said, if you can listen to a guy for 8 hour in a hangout when you can be doing something else, I could actually go out and do lectures if I put the knowledge together. I could actually go out and do lectures because a lot of stuff that I say, black people haven't even heard of.
Mm-hmm.
They
And
haven't
you
even
know
heard of.
what?
Go ahead.
And that's why I think you'd be different, and that's the reason why I mentioned Brother Umar, because
Hmm.
I think it would behoove us to have somebody that's going to be in a Hotep circle, or the Hotep circuit, for lack of a better term, whose basis is not in the metaphysics. Now I understand that you are a Gnostic, but at the
Yeah.
same time, you're not coming on let's vibrate our melanin at a certain frequency, and then we can jump between the fourth and the fifth dimension. The things that you're actually referring to are actually pragmatic, it's practical, and it can be applied.
Yeah,
And that's
but the reason I can't go on, I'm gonna tell you the reason I can't go on the Hotep circuit, right? Is because I can't address the elephant in the room that nobody wants to address, and that's the women.
Yep.
Okay, if I trust and believe, and my partner tells me all the time that if I say what I really, in fact, the only reason I don't really come out and go ham on a lot of women is because I know they're going to find out who I am, and they're going to harm the people that are actually out in the circuit doing good work, that actually work in that environment, right? Women are going to
Mm-hmm.
go after them because they can't go after me, because I don't. Guess what? I don't accept any money. Okay, I'm not making any money. So the thing is, you can't threaten me for doing something when I do it for free. That's how come I do it for free. You can't tell me what to say or anything else like that, because I do it for free, and I
and
do it because I need to address a certain problem.
and you know what? When I was when me and Brother Umar, and again the couple of other, but there was four of us. We were in
Hmm.
Atlanta. We were in Eastport, as a matter of fact. As a matter of
Hmm.
fact, I actually saw Teddy Riley. I actually
Okay.
saw Killer Mike, actually in the same
Okay.
restaurant. It blows my mind. Atlanta is actually a small place, but anyways,
Hmm.
I'm speaking to Brother Umar, and this is oh, okay. As a matter of fact, I used Obsidian's phrase. I said, I'm 28 years old. I don't have any kids. I'm single. And I said, brother, if duration, man, the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Hmm.
The juice ain't worth the squeeze. When it comes
Yeah.
to certain relationships, or trying to actively pursue a relationship.
Right.
And trust me, it was a very candid conversation. And he says, I know. I mentioned child support, and again, we all just started busting out,
Yeah. Yeah.
into
Yeah.
talking. So trust me, it's
They know what it is.
I see exactly where you come. Exactly,
Yeah. They know what
exactly.
it is.
You
Yeah. They know what it
mentioned
is.
that, and
Yeah.
he knows what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Even in okay, in real life, man, when I'm out there doing that kind of work, right? Um, and I'm getting ready to go, getting ready to go in on women, or getting ready to say something very true about women. They'll put their hand on my shoulder. Say, okay, you know what? Just calm down. Don't go. Don't go. In other words, don't go there. So that's how come I hide my face and I hide my name. I'm sure every brother on the line, if they really wanted to know who I was, they probably could find me if they really wanted to dox me. You know, and I always ask them not to dox me because I don't want other people harmed because you can't get to me really. But the thing is, I'm here giving information that other black people won't give you. You know, because there's a lot of people that know, but the thing is, I'm grounded in stuff that's actually real. I'm not really following a black agenda per se, but what I'm doing is I'm bringing what the real world is out there to black people and saying, okay, this is what's going on. This is what I see. This is my analysis of it. So it's to look at it and be aware and pay attention to it.
Is that why you don't mind people using your information?
No, yeah, that's what it's there for. That's
Exactly.
what it's there for.
Right. Right. Because I mean, at some point, man, something's gonna have to give. I mean, the fact that we can stand up and inform, you can't speak the way speak truth the
Uh
way
huh.
it should be spoken. I mean,
Uh
that
huh.
that just kind of says that. I mean, it just demonstrates how entrenched we are in this sickness,
Yes.
and how, as you had pointed out many times, how how adverse we are to solutions.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, it's women complain. Women complain. Well, women and men complain. Well, women complain about what to do with the boys. Okay, they know that the Chicago Institute for Boys works. They
oh
know that. They know it. How come you just don't replicate it all over the city?
yeah,
It's easy. You don't have to spend no more money. All you have to do is separate the boys from girls. That's all you got to do. There's
yeah,
plenty of facilities to do that. In fact, you don't have to give as many facilities to the boys because there's less of them. So you separate the black boys from the black girls, you will solve the problem. The solution is already there. The Chicago Institute of Boys is the solution if you really want it. How come you don't replicate it? Because they don't want to replicate it. If the women really wanted to get rid of the gang problem, really get rid of the male problem, they would go down to the Chicago School Board and say, "Don't spend no more money. Separate the boys from the girls. We want single sex education till we can solve the problem in our neighborhood." They don't want to solve it.
well, they closed 50 schools. They've
Yeah, because
closed them.
be-
Uh,
because because they're trying to save white schools.
well, what's going to happen is when we start getting a more diverse communities, when those communities start to mix even more as far as other ethnic groups. I mean,
Yeah,
it's already happening
yeah, yeah,
over in the south suburb, like
yeah,
southwest suburbs.
yeah.
I mean, I ain't never seen so many burkas and olive colored folks in my life. I mean,
Hmm.
I see now.
Yeah,
That's
that's
where they live.
that's Los Angeles, man. That's Los Angeles, and New York is next.
Yep. So
Because
See, I would.
Trump is gonna come in. Trump is gonna get rid of most of the projects in New York. I'm telling you that right now.
mhm.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing,
Hmm.
and this ties into the previous statement the brother made about closing schools.
Hmm.
Um, as a matter of fact, there was a good show. BGS, you probably know about it. I think it's Dan Rather Reports.
Hmm.
That was a very good show, and they did one on, I believe, the Detroit public school systems. Now,
Hmm.
when I hear, okay, Chicago or Detroit or some other city closed down
Hmm.
this many schools, I ask myself, at least logistically speaking, where
Hmm.
are these students going? Because when I hear
Oh,
closed schools, these schools can't literally be empty unless the enrollment is
oh,
so low that by closing the
it,
schools.
what is that they're empty, but empty where? The thing is, if you look at it, white folks, the white population is declining, right?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Okay. If the white population is declining and there's no students, you can't keep those schools open. What do you have to do?
You have to close down the schools. So it's not black schools that they're closing down. It's schools,
No,
period.
it's schools, period. But thing is, which
Oh,
schools do you want to save?
you'd save the white schools. I mean, why would you save a school full of niggers?
Exactly. You want to save the white schools, so what do? You bring the black students to where?
To the white schools.
White school.
To the white schools.
Yeah, they closed down 50, I think 51 schools um, on the south and west sides. They closed those down because they didn't have a student population. A
Exactly.
lot of a lot of teachers lost their jobs.
Yep.
Support personnel
Yep.
lost their jobs,
Yep.
and a matter of fact, my ex, she's back in the classroom now because,
Hmm.
and she was an administrator.
Hmm.
She lost her position, so she had to
Yeah.
go back in the classroom. Now she's teaching fourth grade now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
where she began, where she started. So
If you follow the policy and you follow the money, it'll lead you in the right direction. 99% of the time. There's always outliers, but if 99% of the time you follow the policy and follow the money, I mean, it's not to me. Okay, to you guys, it might be look like gibberish. It doesn't make any sense to me. It makes perfect sense.
yeah,
If you if my budget is limited, like Illinois' budget it is, because they're out of money, right?
yeah, they yeah, they ain't got no money, man. They
They
don't
ain't
pay their
got no
bills.
money. If
They
they
don't
ain't
pay
got
their
no money, the students are declining, and you have to move students around. Do you move the white kids to the black schools? You move the black kids to the white schools.
You know, move them to the white schools because that's where they want
Exactly. That's where they want them. Those are ones. Those are the schools they want to stay alive. It's because if you look at the demographics of each school, if you could do that on a board, you could find out why they're moving black kids and shift them all the way over to white schools. Why would they ship black kids all the way over to white schools and there's no seats for them? Doesn't make any sense, does it?
them. Yeah, and
Why?
then
Yeah, go ahead.
the white population in Chicago is diminishing.
Yeah,
You got Evergreen Park, man. There was a time when you couldn't even drive through Evergreen Park without getting stopped by the police. Now they
yep.
got black cops, they got black people who live there, and they go
The, the,
blacks to the schools in Evergreen Park.
the biggest elephant in the room, and it's the untold secret. And I'll tell you guys, you guys probably heard me say it before. White supremacy is dead, boss.
Yeah, I believe
Period.
that.
It's dead. I mean, it died. Basically, like my partner was saying in my hangout, not hangout, but my circle. Basically, basically all they're doing is negotiating terms for their defeat.
Hmm.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. I predicted it. When I predicted it, when I predicted it, it was 2004,
Where
2005. I predicted the white supremacy was on its way out, but
where
I didn't
do
think it would. Go ahead.
where do you think the mistake? And trust me, under no circumstance am I trying to I'm asking, as a way to prevent it from their end. But at the same time, you mentioned something in the Chrissy video, and it lingered in my head. Just because you know history doesn't mean you understand history. So
Right.
at what point do you think what was the straw that broke the camel's back as far as white supremacy is concerned?
The straw that broke their back. Okay, there was a stand in 2011. I don't know if you guys remember it when during the Syrian war where the Russians came in
It's a
and
Crimea.
no, Crimea wasn't even part of Crimea was a reaction to what happened in 2011. What happened is, and I think I've said it before in a hangout. Maybe I'll have to do a formal video to where it's permanent because I keep getting the question over and over again. Okay, in 2011, I think 2011 they had just started the Syrian war, and the Russians weren't involved. Then they wanted a no-fly zone. The Russians and the Chinese refused.
I remember that.
So so basically, the United States wanted to do what they had done in Libya anyway, was bring in missile carriers and basically target the Syrian anti-aircraft batteries and do a no-fly zone anyway. Basically, force a no-fly zone. And the Russians came in with boats and ships to counter it. And remember, it kept escalating, escalating, escalating. Right? They were talking about Putin. Putin didn't back down. Basically, Putin drew a line in the sand that you're not going to do this to Syria for a whole host of reasons that I'm not even going to go into because it'd take too long. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, and it's been downhill ever since.
Now,
And you see one mistake after another, like Ukraine. Reason they try to take Ukraine, if anybody knows, is because Crimea is the Mediterranean port for Russia, and it has for Russia and the Soviet Union. It has been since I think it's 1780, when Catherine the Great opened up a Mediterranean port in Crimea, and it had been a Russian naval base for 200 years, over 200 years. So, in other
starting with
words, excuse me, starting with Catherine
starting
the
with the
Great,
okay, the royal
yeah,
family, and then to the Soviets.
and then we had basically Soviets. Soviets is just another extension of the Russian Empire. But anyway, it had been a naval base for the Soviets and the Russians for 200 over 200 years. So you go into Crimea because after the Soviet Union broke up, they let Crimea be a part of the Ukraine. So the United States to basically stop Putin and Russia from intervening into the Mediterranean and into Syria. They said if we cut off his base, we'll cut off his power and his access. Then we can go and do a no-fly zone in Syria and do what we need to do, right? For a whole host of
Hmm.
reasons. I'm not even going to go into that. But in other words, they tried to try to take Ukraine so they could take Crimea, but Putin, it's a very obvious move. Putin came in and did what? He just cut Crimea off from Ukraine. So basically, after that, Ukraine was a useless battle.
You know what? I
That,
will
that,
say.
that- Go ahead.
No. Continue, because I'll be just be. Go ahead, continue.
So basically, that was one bad move, which I kind of laughed at and said that was stupid. The last stupid move that they made that was actually a critical error, and I know it was desperate. They felt they had to do it. Was the coup in Turkey that failed?
So that was orchestrated, or at least backed some way somehow through back channels by the U.S.
It was by NATO and CIA. In fact, they named the general. I have it someplace
Oh my goodness.
in my literature. I just can't. They even named the general that basically orchestrated the coup.
You know,
But the thing is that basically the Russians got wind of the coup. They warned Erdogan that the coup was coming. He flew out of the country. He putting plans in place to counter the coup. Coup failed, and now Erdogan doesn't trust the United States. So basically, now that the United States and NATO is trying to figure out how they're going to get the nuclear missiles out of Turkey right now because Turkey is flipped over to the other side. So basically now everything that they had planned is gone with the Syrian war because they didn't want all those civilians to be killed on their watch. They let them into into Europe and tried to spread them out. But it caused a demographic crisis in Europe because you had millions and millions of Muslims coming across the border that hadn't been assimilated. It's too
of
many of
course,
them assimilated. That caused a
and,
crisis all over Europe. That's how come.
and,
That's how come the people in the UK um, wanted to get out of the EU and
and you
forced
know,
basically voted for Brexit because of that. So now the EU is basically going to start to break up. But those are just one of the many reasons that have caused mistakes that have caused white supremacy to go down. Now you have what they call a multipolar world. So the white people do not dominate the world like they used to anymore. In fact, they don't dominate it at all.
Now here's the thing for um wouldn't couldn't a layman such as myself say, well, white supremacy isn't dead because the Russians are white, at least to us. But here's the thing: I understand that I'm not a European. As much as the Spoilers wish they were, I'm not a European, so I don't understand the cultural aspect. And seeing how they treat each other, I'm pretty sure the race doesn't even come up.
But you're missing a vital piece. Who is leading the Russians?
Putin, a white
Nope,
man.
nope. Who's leading the Russians?
Wait a second. Wait a second. Let me connect the dots. You know I'm not the sharpest tool in the
No,
drawer, the
it
brightest
has nothing to
bulb in
do
the
with it.
The
chimney.
Chinese.
The Chinese, exactly.
You said it too. Damn it.
Yeah, the Chinese. Well, the thing is, you don't put yourself down, right? Because I've been the reason I got into all this in '94 is because I read my advisor's book, and he talked about the Chinese, and this has been a progression. So basically, this has been 23 years. So I don't expect anybody on the line, anybody here, to catch up with me after 23 years. Because I am way ahead of you guys. I'm way ahead. Me and my group are like ahead of 99% of the people in the world. We just are because this is our focus. This has been my focus for 23 years, and my group we formed in 2006. So 11 years. We've been doing this shit for 11 years. So I don't expect anybody on the line to be anywhere near where we are because we got through that for a lot of hard work. So we basically were reading articles and studying for 20 and 30 hours a week, just doing this kind of stuff. So don't beat yourself up that you don't know. It doesn't, you don't know because you haven't put in the work like I have, because you just started. So you can't know. So basically nowadays with us, all we're doing is reading headlines and watching pieces drop into place. That's all we're doing. In fact, the Russians are getting ready to try to open up a base in Latin America, a naval base.
Yeah, it's goodness. A goodness. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So in other words, these are just steps, you know,
And
and basically they're building out the infrastructure as far as dominance is concerned.
now allow me. Well, before I jump into it,
Hmm.
anybody who's listened to Most Def, he that one song that he the beef. He said beef is geopolitics, and now all the lights all the flickering lights are starting to stay on because now I understand it, and to be honest, it's a little disheartening because I can only imagine this is the geopolitics that's going on between Asia, Europe, Eurasia, and the surrounding areas. Now I can only imagine what Africa would have to do if it wants to cement itself, again, at least, if not, as obviously, if I won't mention Nigeria, but at least as a social economic block,
They have to
in
wait.
order.
They have to do the work and wait their turn.
Yes, sir.
Is what it
Yes,
is.
sir. Damn it.
Their their their
And
their their century's not the 21st; it's the 22nd. So they got to
uh
wait their turn.
yes, sir. God damn it. And
This is just my analysis, and a whole lot of people agree with me. Just have to
no,
wait their turn.
no, you're absolutely right. And as I was saying before, we, and I say we as in my generation, we have to fully understand that that certain things are not going to happen even in one or two generations,
Hmm.
whether it be ourselves, our children, our grandchildren, but it goes beyond that. So I understand why TBA, I understand why Professor Black Truth will say that white supremacy doesn't operate in years or or yearly or decades, but in centuries.
Yeah.
The moves, almost like Fisher. He's not looking at the next move, but two, three, four, five moves beyond that with anticipation.
Yeah, and there's a lot of self correction that goes on in between because they're not perfect, and it some of it a lot of it some of it's planning, um, some of it's knowledge, and a lot of it's luck. Believe it or not.
And that's what, and as I've said before, brother, that's our problem, my generation, because again, I grew up in the advent of YouTube, and watching Illuminati videos. So when you watch enough Illuminati videos,
Yeah,
and somehow some way these people find out that the Illuminati are either interdimensional, homosexual, pedophile, satanic, uh, eternal beings, and you watch so many, so much, you internalize that somehow these people, if they're not perfect, they're at least a lot better than us as a population. So you really get discouraged. But again, Dr. Wilson brought this to mind. So now being more pragmatic, looking, instead of looking at the Bible for clues, you're looking at news clippings, editorials, especially when it comes to economics. You can start to see the kinks and the armor that was supposed to be impenetrable or impregnable.
yeah,
So again, but that's me. Now just imagine a whole generation who think, because I've had conversations with brothers, with black men,
yeah,
who, once you mention the Illuminati, they'll say yes, this and this and this and this and this.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I will say, okay, we got to do something, and then the buts come in.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Well, it's one of those things. Somebody like me wasn't supposed to slip through the cracks. Okay, somebody like me was not supposed to slip through the cracks. For happenstance, because of the way my life went, I slipped through the cracks. Somebody with my kind of talent is not supposed to be able to slip through the cracks. I'm supposed to be scooped up, put into whatever silo, and work for them. Okay, I slipped through the cracks. So, um, all I can do, I have a few brothers that are on the line, not on the line, but in my think tank that I taught to do what I did. And so, and we crowdsourced this, and we're still doing it. In fact, and one of my brothers, he had been on hiatus because he had a business he had to get going. Um, he had stopped for like a year or two, and he's getting back into, because I said, "Why are you back into it all of a sudden?" He said, "Because now I'm seeing what we had talked about 10 years ago actually starting to form up and come to fruition."
now my question to you is, one, is this an open think tank, and if not,
No,
then
it's not
what?
open. I can't open it up because that will put the people that are in the think tank at risk. If we wanted to be public, we would be public.
Okay,
Um,
so
so it's not. Go ahead.
my next question is, how can we, or how can one follow the, I mean, I guess it really just comes down to just doing the work, now that I'm thinking about it, because to ask it is to answer it.
Yeah,
And I
I'm thinking of, I thought about, I'm still thinking about doing it, is in my books channel, basically attaching a Twitter feed to my books channel, and articles that I come across, just retweet them so that you guys can actually follow in real time the articles that I'm looking at, or, headlines that I'm looking at, and you guys can actually go in and start reading the articles and basically following the work, and start gaining the knowledge. I'm thinking about doing that. Um, since we collect them on a daily basis, we don't collect as much as we used to. When we used to pass like uh, 15 to 20 articles just a day, we had to read through, and we're not talking about just news articles. We're talking about deep sites and publications and stuff like that. So it was, if you analyzing 20 articles a day, that's a lot of work.
yes, sir.
and along with the background work and stuff like that. So what I'm thinking about doing that, I might do. I think I have the Twitter already, but I'm thinking about sharing it on my books channel feed, um, so that you guys can actually follow my Twitter.
Yes, sir.
But
And
I'm still up in the air about that. But when I decide, I'll let you guys know. That way you can actually um, not only get what I've distilled out with the stuff, the few things that I actually put out, because I don't put out that much as far as geopolitics or even finance. But
to be
but
honest,
I said, go ahead.
um, going from what you're saying, to be honest, I think in my position, and I'm about to leave my car. I'm on a job site, so if you brothers hear a lot of background noise, I apologize.
Mm,
But I will say this, and if you hear me speaking bad Spanish again, I apologize.
okay.
But I guess, speaking in regards to the about the think tank, I guess from my position, it would actually be harder trying to find like-minded black men and women at my age, or at least in my age group, to go ahead and even follow that. Because even if you did say, okay, Wilsonian, you can join my think tank, and I want you in Orlando to at least find one brother sister. um, Me finding one wouldn't be the issue. The thing is, if this person is, uh, an assimilationist, if this person is somebody who's just only going to swirl, then it, I guess it'd be an issue. But now it comes to the question: well, what's more important, finding somebody who can analyze said material, or finding someone who's actually down for the cause to take the time
Mm,
to dissect and spread out this information. And this is the reason why I mentioned Brother Umar Johnson. I see that O'Shea Duke Jackson is on the line. I believe he's already said his piece, but you know what? With all the shortcomings Brother Umar has, if he's a problem, then so be it. But at least I know that there are people who attend his meetings who would who's not based in the esoteric, but more in the sciences, the economics, or what have you.
uh-huh.
Because we can kumbaya all we like, but if we're not going to analyze information that's going to benefit us in the future, and find ways to apply it, in our reality, then all of this is all for naught. And as the prophet Dr. Amos Wilson, may peace be upon him, I come here, I'll give you the bad news. I'll let the others pump your ego, So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, folks, we got about 15 minutes, and I got to run. Anybody else want to get in?
Yeah, I got a question.
Hmm.
Where do you see um, it more going in the year and the well, I guess it's like
Yeah. Mute your phone, Wilson.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Mute your phone. Okay.
so. Where do you see it more going in terms of its development? Do you see it expanding? You see more membership? Do you see it going public? So, what do you think about that?
Um, Black groups have a really hard time getting off the ground. A really hard time getting off the ground because because black groups splinter more quickly than any other groups. Um, I think it depends on how many black Ibmore members actually publish and put out videos. That's what we really need. Um, there's no way I should have more videos than the people that actually founded the group.
Uh-huh.
In my personal opinion, the thing that MGTOW members actually did, and MGTOW folks actually did, is they basically flooded the YouTube with their information. Lots and lots and lots and lots of uh, MGTOW followers actually publish videos, and I don't think we have enough of that in Idmore. At Atagon Forest, For whatever reason, he doesn't publish. He doesn't publish enough. You know, you have to. It takes a lot, man. I know it's hard work, man, because it takes a lot to basically come up with foundational videos, meaningful videos, and I probably just in my hangouts, I've probably put up more hours than they have in the past year. I mean, with True 40 and Adagon, and I think that's it's gonna require if they don't publish and put their information out, on a regular basis, so for guys to actually follow, I don't think the group is going to survive very long. Um, so right now when you think of Idmore, basically who do you think of, more or less? I'm probably the best known Idmore out there, other than maybe Black Ram, but I don't know if he identifies with it, but because I publish. Okay, you guys still there?
Hello?
Hello, you guys still there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. That's it.
but I think that's the thing about Itmore. People are going to have to start putting up videos and really putting in roll up their sleeves and putting in work.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because I watched the video this morning from Black Pigeon Speaks,
Uh huh.
and of course when it comes about race, I disagree vehemently on his position,
Uh
but
huh.
I'll be damned if that man doesn't make quality content.
Yes, he does.
The one that he made this morning about, it is very knowledgeable.
Mm
That's one thing that's one thing about the MGTOW community that I respect. It's one of the reasons why, granted there's a lot of racists there, but you know
hmm.
what? I'll be damned if they can't make quality content. And as they said in the red pill, you take what you want, you leave what you don't, and then you just keep on trucking. So I'm not the black men versus MGTOW, but obviously I've stated my position when it comes to that, and so
Hmm.
has Professor Black Truth. But you're absolutely right. There has to be a black Pigeon Speaks. I mean, I guess that'd be you. So there needs to be somebody else. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. That man
Yeah.
has high
Yeah.
quality
Yeah.
videos.
And I think that I think that that's the biggest problem. I think they just need more content, you know, and the more men need to publish more because
You
there's no
know,
way
and
there's no way I should have more videos than they do.
I think one of the issues with Ibmore, and again I say this slightly, so please don't kick me out. I think
Hmm.
a lot of besides your channel and a few others, a lot of it, it's almost the male version of the black man ain't shit. When it comes to bashing swirlers, again, rightfully so, but we have bigger fish to fry
Hmm.
and things like that. Again, that'll bring in traffic without any issues. There's a few Hebrewites or Israelites that's in it, so they bring in their traffic when he speaks to that. I don't know if Reluctant Nabi sees himself as Ibmore, but I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
Hmm.
But a more secular approach to it. It's it doesn't it doesn't induce the feelings that drama brings, so it's not going
Hmm.
to bring in traffic.
Right. Yeah.
You check other videos, TBA, he has a
Hmm.
good quality videos, but what was one of his more popular, if not the most popular video that he's done, when swirling goes bad with the Christian
Okay.
kerosene
Oh yeah. Yeah.
situation.
Uh
So
huh.
you know but you're absolutely right,
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Because I know. a lot of some stuff I put up because, especially earlier on, a lot of stuff I put up were really were content heavy and theory heavy, and I know it wasn't going to be popular because my most popular videos are when I rant. As soon as they see me rant, all of a sudden, the viewership goes way up. But even though I wonder that I put up a post coming from the Council of Foreign Relations talking about race, and it was done by a professor. I think he was out of Harvard, and I posted that from the Foreign Affairs. You know, that's not going to get nearly as many hits as I did with Serena and Gross. Even though that's probably more important than what Lance Gross and Serena Williams are doing.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. I'll also say this, and I would even take it as a suggestion because again, I'm not in a position to give suggestions. I will say this. I'm waiting. Either I'm waiting or maybe I should just take the initiative now and stop
What's that?
being intellectually lazy. To the analysis that you give on European affairs, or I should say Western affairs,
Uh-huh.
I think there should be more, since it's pertaining to it more on African affairs and how that can either shape, aid, or again give some type of insight when it comes to the issues with black men and black women on a global scope. Because let's be honest,
Because
let's
because
be
because because our fates are shaped by these forces. Okay, if we were shaping
I
our
know
own
that.
destiny, if we were shaping our own destiny, then it wouldn't be important. The thing is, what black people do not, because there's a lot of people talking about Africa. There's a lot of people talking about black people, but nobody's talking about what's shaping all these things. And I'm trying to give you the underlying reasons that are shaping these things. So when you do see something that goes on in Africa, you understand it. You understand where it's coming from. When something happens, when something's happened in the United States to black people, 90, I would say 10%, 10 to 15% is coming are black people in their culture. The rest is what's going on in the dominant society. Welfare, we don't fund welfare. They do. We don't make up the child support laws or the divorce laws. They do. We don't make up the marriage laws. They do. You know, we don't control the economy. They do. So in other words, if we don't understand what they do and why they do it, how can we master the game if we only play in our little corner? Can't.
Yep.
That's why I don't focus. I take a topic, a white topic, a white global topic, and I focus it and shows it how it affects us. That's what I do.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I don't just play this stuff because I want you guys to get imbibed in white culture. I play this stuff because this stuff is directly going to affect you. The fourth industrial revolution is going to affect everybody, right? If you're a
Yes,
truck
sir.
driver, a cab driver, or whatever the hell else you do, it's going to affect you. If gas prices go up or down, it's going to affect you. If they defund Section 8 and welfare, it's going to affect you. And the thing is, if I just talk about black people, you're not going to understand why it happened. Like most black people, I don't know why it happened, and you get mad. You point at the woman, the woman points back at you, and it has nothing to do with either one of you because neither one of you are in control of it. That's why the gender war is foolish to me because neither one of you are in control of the arms. You're just squabbling. You're
And
just pointing fingers back and forth while the real problem is in the dominant society. The real
you know
problem is,
what?
go ahead.
And you know what? That's the reason. And you already spoke about it. But
Hmm.
that's the reason why when Obsidian and a couple other brothers say certain things, and I'm going to use colorism for example.
Uh-huh.
Um, Dr. Amos Wilson. Again, I call him a prophet for a reason. It
Uh-huh.
was the video where it was the black man black woman relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
he says, to paraphrase that, black men and black women, and this is when I realized how deep it was, because all I knew in my early years was, maybe Ricky Lake, maybe Sally, and that's really about it. But he says that black men and black women will criticize each other, lambast each other, when the main doing so, the main perpetrator escapes unscathed, which is
Yep.
which is the European. And I want to clarify to those who are going to listen. It's not blaming the European per se, but of course you're going to have internalized inferiority complex in a European system.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you don't see dark women, and that's my biggest issue with swirlers. It black men too. Don't get it twisted, but it doesn't make sense for black women to run to a European when it's the Europe. They say, well, white men love my dark skin and my nappy hair. When it was the European who chastised you for this characteristics
Okay.
in the first place. But I'll shut up.
Can I talk about? Okay. Can I have go on a rant for about 5 minutes about colorism and why it's
No
stupid?
one's.
Huh?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. If Chrissy and Sergeant Willie Pete do what they want, and separate the light skinned people from the dark skinned people, right? Say if they had the power to do that, right? In a white dominant system, and they successfully separated light skinned people of above a certain hue from the dark skinned people of a certain hue. Who the fuck is going to be at the goddamn bottom?
The dark skinned ones.
The dark skinned ones. So why the fuck are you going to separate yourself from the rest of the black people, black population, when you're going to be the fucking loser? Does that make goddamn sense?
No, sir.
Why are you going to play right into white supremacy? If they can separate the light skinned people, the mulattoes, or I call the mulatto class from the dark class, and separate the population so that only the dark skinned people who are readily identifiable going to be at the bottom of the caste system, why the fuck would you sign on for that? Do you think you're going to actually get some real power by separating dark people from light skinned people? Really? That's insane.
But Chris is not thinking about that, BGS. What she's looking at is that she'll have a better chance at mating options. That's all she's looking at.
Why are you listening to children?
I'm not.
I know you're not. The thing is, why are black people? It's not just young black people that are listening to her. It's older black women. Why the fuck are you listening to goddamn children? That's why I tell Chrissy, do the fucking work. Don't just think with your fucking pussy. Reason with I put that shit up for a goddamn reason, because it's a stupid idea. You're gonna fucking lose if you separate dark people from light skinned people. The only way we're gonna get out of this shit is together. If you allow the lowest caste and the lowest caste people to unmoor themselves from the rest of the population, who's gonna wind up at the fucking bottom? It ain't the light skinned girls, it ain't the mulatto people, it's you.
Yeah, you've just recreated a buffer class.
You recreate a buffer class.
Literally digging themselves into a hole.
You not only digging yourself into a goddamn hole, you're taking a shovel and putting dirt over your goddamn self. It's stupid. I don't even know. The thing is, I know women are going to get upset when I say shit like this. That's how come I don't rant like this and actually put it out harshly like this. Maybe I should. It's fucking stupid about fucking colorism, because the losers are not going to be the mulatto people or the light-skinned people. It's going to be fucking you. You separate yourself. Do you think white people, because you screamed about it, are going to put you on TV when you separate yourself from everybody else? No. They don't have to show you then. They don't have to give you a job.
If anything,
they don't have to hire you.
You'd be victimized more.
You'd be victimized more. If you want to go back to the 50s and the 40s where they were lynching businessmen and you couldn't walk down the street without worrying about being shot or the patty rollers coming in and beating you upside the head, go back to it. Stop being stupid. That's why I say most millennials that read history don't understand it. Because it's very simple logic. If you had any kind of common sense about politicism, I don't give a goddamn about Christie selling this shit so she can sell her magazine and make money from it. I don't care about that. But don't sell this bullshit when you know that this fucker you're gonna drive black women and black people into a fucking ditch. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. If you want to be black and be relegated and upheld in a society, go to the fuck where there's black people at. Move to Africa if you're that adamant about being uplifted in a dark country. Go to a dark country and be that. If you go to West Africa, ain't nothing but dark people. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was just saying, go in, BG.
It makes no fucking sense. And they say that black people, the old guys like me, don't know shit, right? You don't listen to me. You take me with a grain of salt. Fuck, you don't have to do the fucking math. If you're so goddamn smart, you're so goddamn intelligent, you went to fucking school, do the goddamn math. Anybody with fucking comments, I can get a street person off the street and give him an argument. He'll tell you need to get rid of colorism. You fought 100 years to get rid of this shit. Why are you going to dig it back up when you're the one that's going to be? I can understand the mulattoes talking about colorism. I can understand that because they're eventually going to win. They're going to be the winners in the colorism battle because they're associated with who? The dominant society. No. You have 16 million adult black males. Adult black males that are untrained in military tactics. They are not fucking overturning this society. It's not going to happen. And if you try, you're going to lose 60% of them. So revolution inside this country makes absolutely no goddamn sense. The only reason you should have arms is to protect yourself because you are not overturning the most powerful military country that has ever been created in the history of civilization. It's not going to happen. If it could happen and black people were that goddamn bad, Africa would be free right now. Stop being stupid. Just because you want to be uplifted, you want to see yourself in a fucking magazine, you want to see yourself on TV, you're willing to sacrifice 10 million black men. Fuck that. Go sleep with a white man and see if he's going to uplift you.
Hey man, Don DeMarco.
Because I'm sick. I am sick of this stupid shit. I am sick of it. You mad because light-skinned women had dark-skinned men, and if dark-skinned sister didn't have nobody, that's her fault. She didn't have to be in that picture if she didn't want to be in it. Why are you upset about what they do with their own family? And I try to tell them the reason dark-skinned women are losing out is because your fucking reputation. Get your reputation up. Get it better. If you raise nothing but scholars and engineers, the world will be beating down your door trying to get to you.
And you know what, BGS? You know how I've seen what you said as an actuality? Excuse me. You have some women from India who are South Indian. And these are the darkest of the darkest. As a matter of fact, what I wanted to tell you, BGS, is that I would call you and raise you. Me being a Haitian, I think I have family members way darker than, I'm talking about the jet black of the jet black. Well, I have obsidian, I have graphite. Another thing I wanted to say is you're absolutely right, because those South Indian women have no problem that I've seen. The few that I've seen have no problem. As a matter of fact, they've all been in a relationship. Yeah. You know, so it isn't simply the color but is the culture too.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're South Indian doesn't make them any less as Southeast Asian, if you will, than anybody else.
Right.
So
Yeah, because Russian immigrant women have terrible reputation. Terrible reputations. Nobody trusts Russian immigrant women. They have, even though they're the standard of white beauty, they have terrible reputations.
real cold.
They're dishonest. They have terrible reputations.
Chrissy needs therapy.
Hey, Christy's a child. She needs to grow up.
The thing with me is twofold. Is one, I feel there are, not most, not all, not half, but as Obsidian said, there's enough. I think there are black men who approach colorism as if it simply happens in a vacuum, or they discount it, disregard it if they're not practicing it. At the same time,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Christy, but she just, to me, said, I don't understand why she would think in a country such as the U.S. in the West that's harbored in an environment for colorism to flourish. I don't know why she think that it really wouldn't have been an issue. You want to make up 13% of the population, maybe 7%, 6.5%, as black women. So, comprising that much of the U.S. population, why didn't you think that colorism wouldn't be an issue in your community?
The thing is, why would you make it worse? I mean, it's one thing if I could understand if Lance Grove and his partners were out there and they had white women. I can understand that, but they're light skinned black women. So what? My ex, man, my ex, she is literally jet black. She used to have a mother. Her dark mother gave her a complex about being so dark, right? And her father is dark. He's dark, right? All his sisters are light skinned. You look at Lance Grove's pictures. All those women are the same color as her aunts, even though she's literally jet black. The only people that I've seen darker is when I went to Ghana. It went to West Africa, and I have cousins that are just that color. I mean, just that color. I mean, dark. My daughter is dark. She's not. I mean, she's not blue black. You know what I call blue black, women that are so dark that they actually have a blue hue to them. She's not blue black, but they are dark. They're really dark.
From my observation, if I draw it out as an equation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like colorism is equals sexual marketplace value.
It does, and that's how come you see females. That's how come you see females complain about it. Men suffer from it, but men don't complain about it.
Right. Nobody gives a fuck if suck it up. Be stoic, motherfucker.
Suck it up. It's right.
It's like the men who are short.
Yeah, men who are short.
You don't see short men online talking about heightism. I mean, brothers do complain, but they don't complain as much as the women do with colorism.
Oh man!
And then
every no disrespect to anybody who's on the line that's light skinned. Every brown brother knows that if he's in an atmosphere with black women and some dude that's like 6'2" with wavy hair and green eyes and light skin comes in, all brothers just fall back and see who's gonna pick the rest. Let me
throw something in. Do you know the brother, what they call him, the sexy inmate, the guy who took the photo?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you know that he was able to purchase a mansion, a luxury car, and his wife was white, and he was supported by many black women as far as being beautiful?
Yeah.
It would have been too easy to be something else.
Yeah.
It had to be that.
I couldn't
Yeah,
believe it when I seen it on Yahoo that the
nope.
man was able to buy all this because of his fame
Yeah,
of social media by
yeah.
these women propping him up just because
And
he had blue eyes, light
yeah, because
skin.
he's a mulatto. His mama's white. Yeah,
And I said to myself, I wonder how these women are going to take it because the photo that they had on the caption on the site was him with his white wife,
yeah, yeah, yeah. His mama's white,
and he
so
was a
yeah,
thug.
yeah. He's a thug. Yeah, yeah,
He's the master of the universe. He's a thug. He had tattoos. He was light
yeah.
skinned and he had blue eyes.
And blue eyes. Yeah.
The
Don't be tripping
trifecta,
on the color, bro, BG.
a soup.
Don't be
Huh?
tripping on it. It's like I don't be tripping on the color because they gonna still bitch and moan and cajole
Yeah.
and all of that. However, at the end of the day, it seems like a lot of them don't understand that what they're asking for is to be pimped out. It's kind of like that scene from motherfucking what's that? From Dusk Till Dawn.
Uh
We
huh.
got light pussy, brown pussy, black pussy. All you white men, Asian, whatever, y'all don't want this pussy? Ain't fuck that. Ain't nothing in that for me. For us.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, basically, you're in America. Eventually, and all my conscious people know this, that and these are strong, hardcore, pro-black Pan-African. If you're going to stay in the United States, you're going to be assimilated. It just is what it is. You don't have a choice. And one generation, maybe two generations, basically, you're all going to be mixed up. You're going to have some black couples here or there, but basically, all going to be mixed up, married to all different kind of people. It is what it is. You're going to be in the United States. If you want to stay black and keep your black genes and black heritage, you got to move out of here.
You know what? That's something that I, excuse me, um, I've voiced in the past.
Hmm.
Me being Haitian, obviously Haiti is on the list in regards to other countries in South America because they continue to have it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're on the same way too. So obviously the continent is going to is the end goal, is the end game. What I do from there is obviously you know uh, what I can do in said environment. But you're absolutely right.
Yep.
To be honest,
Yep.
I think that's uh that's a that's something that
You dropped out. Say it again.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think going back to the continent is one of those things that can I I say to a point that's can somebody that's going to measure somebody's commitment to the cause. If someone is truly pro-black, and I understand why David Carroll gets on those, why he calls them the RBG, step and fetch it, you know, back to Africa. You gives I understand where he's coming from when he criticizes them, because you have those who at least have the means to do so, and not if at least not move back, then at least try to set something up economically between where that person is and to the continent. But I can see why why you have those who criticize him. You get me say if since that is the base.
Hmm. Yep.
So
It is what it is.
now
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. We got 5 more minutes. I'm leaving it right at the top of the
one
hour.
last one last
Okay.
question,
Real
yes
quick
or
question.
no?
Uh,
Uh, is the notion that the Jews are behind it one valid in regards to the assimilation, or was this something that's policy?
no, the Jews aren't behind it. No, it's just
Okay.
something that happened. Started way back. I think I mentioned the Mohawk Conference in 1890. That's where the assimilation idea started. It was actually propagated through the right after World War II with Eisenhower and what's his name? I think it was Truman.
Okay.
That's when it actually started. But those ideas have been around since 1890. In fact, Du Bois came out of the assimilationist stuff that was going around from that Mohan conference. So
Who ben
you
who
had
benefits?
deportation, uh, basically get rid of them. You had eugenics, and you had assimilationists, and they tried deportation, didn't work. Basically, they tried eugenics, it didn't work. So now it's assimilationists. Assimilism has been happening since 1945. Started with the troops and filtering its way out, and basically coming into its end game. Once they break up the black communities, it'll be over for the most part.
Alrighty then, brother BGS.
All right, we got it. We got about 5 minutes. Any quick questions before I split? Anybody? If there's no questions, we can.
I was wondering what kind of email address you have.
It's blackgnostic20 at gmail.com. Somebody, okay, I'll drop the link, but I only got about 5 minutes because I got family. There's the link. Got to be real quick because I'm gonna hold it at 3 p.m. PST. I'm gone. So the people that are arguing in the background, they never come on. You know, they post comments, but they don't have the guts enough to actually come. When I'm in a hangout, they never come on. So a lot of these cats, man, that writing essays, I'm gonna just start deleting their comments. You know, I'm not even gonna bother anymore. No, not you, Charles. No, there's people that are protesting in the comment section. They're writing whole essays and shit, man, trying to give me points and stuff like that. I said, well, come on and hang out and articulate what you're talking about instead of, you know, I mean, I don't want to be typing and responding to essay questions, man, in the comment section, in the comment box, man. That is like it's like a headache, especially when you get people think, okay, you're the yeah, you got 5 minutes, you got about three. So jump on if you want to ask a question. Yeah, but I get a lot of people that want to type essays and go back and forth, man. And people think they're the only ones typing this stuff. It's like, you know, like put it in a video so I can respond to it instead of typing because you really can't. You really can't debate back and forth in a have a debate or a exchange of ideas in a comment section. It's there for comments. Okay, you say what you feel, really short, and give your opinion. But man, yeah, I mean, you guys see that stuff, man. It's like at least nowadays they put them in paragraph form. Before they were like blocks of text, man. It's like you have like 10 paragraphs all on a big block. And man, I'm 57, man. That shit is hard to read in the comment box. It really is. Sometimes I have to even copy and paste it into another form and actually so it's actually readable. Yeah, in fact, when we got on Obsidian, man, it was no debate really.
BGS.
That's what. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, yes. This is James. You know, you always say that. Hello.
I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. You. Oh,
If
okay.
somebody's got their mic open, everybody
Yeah.
except John, James, close your mic. So mute your mic so he can. We won't have the echo. But go ahead, ask your question, bro.
Okay.
You're gonna. Or you can turn down just turn down your speakers and just ask your question, and you can catch the response.
Okay. You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. always talk about the fact that if you really want to be black, you need to get out of this country really, because we're all going to be mixed up. But I'm, I'm always pointing to Brazil. We can be mixed up, but the black identity will never go away. You can be you can look as light to the point where you're almost white, but deep inside that identity will never go away, because you can take a look at Brazil. You can talk to someone who looks like he's white, he or she is white, but they'll tell you that they're African. See, I think those guys who want to change this country in ways where they blur the races, really what they want to achieve is a complete erasing of the black identity. That will not happen. What will happen is the shade will look different, but the identity of blackness, it's impossible to erase.
Okay, except for one, we've got one small thing. This is the United States, which is a much more powerful country than Brazil is.
It's impossible to erase.
Okay, except for one, we've got one small thing. This is the United States, which is much more powerful country.
Yeah, but also remember, the U.S. is losing power. Everyone is going. The Chinese are going to Africa. You know.
That's Africa.
Say it again.
That's Africa, not the United States. You know, the Africans are always outnumbered the white folks, the white settlers from Portugal. Portugal is was a very small country. They didn't have enough people to swamp out the blackness. United States does.
Well, yeah, but Brazil has enough people. But I mean, if you go to Brazil now, most people are mixed, and there's right now there's a strong movement. There's a strong movement for all. Yeah, but right now there's a strong movement for the identity of the African descent folks to identify themselves. That right now they have
What happened to the native? What happened to the Native Americans that were here in this country?
Well, I hear what you're saying, but take a look at Brazil. The Native American in Brazil, the Native.
But that's Brazil. It's not the United States. Are Brazil and the United States exactly the same?
Yeah, you know what? I think this is a wild guess, but they're not.
They're not.
But to your point, this is a wild guess because
It's already happening. What are you talking about? Wild guess. It's already happening.
well it is happening. There's a lot of feedback.
Is it yours? You have speakers on because you listen to me on the YouTube.
Let me close YouTube. Yeah, let me close YouTube. Yeah. All right. Is that better?
Can you understand me now?
Yeah, because I had to close YouTube. Yeah. All right.
Okay. You cannot map on a different region with a different set of circumstances with a different starting point to another country.
Yeah,
Can't.
but the point the point that I'm arguing is the fact that the folks here who wants to do the blurring of the races, they're not really concerned about the look. All they're concerned about is you don't identify yourself as African, and I'm telling you that's not gonna happen, because you can look as white as you can possibly look, but
Okay, I'll point to you why that's not true. Exactly why that's not true. You look at the Prussians taking over Germany and the German people. How come all of a sudden all the tribes identify them as one German people?
Well, but remember the history of black folks in this hemisphere
I'm asking you a
is a,
specific. I'm asking you a specific question. I'm not talking about black folks in this hemisphere.
well it's two different
No, 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 no,
peoples.
no, 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 no. Stay with me. We're going through a logical argument and you're trying to dance around it. What happened to the what did the Prussians do to unify the German tribes?
I think they had. I don't remember. I think I may have read it somewhere. It could have been that. I'm not gonna speculate on this, but I'm not sure what it did.
They sent them to school together. They separated them. They sent them all to school together, and they formed a German identity. All white people in the United States don't all come from the same place. Why do they identify themselves as white?
But yeah, that's what you're saying. It's that as assimilation technique that they're using.
Yeah, exactly.
But
So
but remember, our history is
what
way
what is
different.
what is the only reason we haven't been assimilated yet?
Well, there are many reasons. One of them
No, 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 no. There's only one reason. Why was the reason that we haven't been assimilated yet?
well, one of the reason is the fact that we're not really in proximity.
No, 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 no,
Right?
no, 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 no. What is the main reason? Because we went through this. What is the reason we're not assimilated yet?
Mm.
Think about it. What's the main reason? Can we say racism?
Well, racism and
Economic.
proximity.
Segregation?
Right. Right. Exactly.
We're forced. The only reason we're not assimilated yet because they force a racial divide.
But now you're saying
Then they're eliminating the racial divide. They're going to do what all countries do. They're going to blend in. And you're a minority of the population. You're going to blend in.
it's very well. You still have a lot of Africans coming over.
The Africans want to blend in just like everybody else. Trust and belief.
Well,
That's about a third generation. They marry white folks too. You can see. In fact, you can go to if you're white, you can go over to Africa and get married right there, right on the continent if you want to.
right. So you would say that folks that are even in Cuba or in Brazil, they all identify themselves as Brazilian up until a few years, well, a few decades ago.
Why do black females buy weaves and blue contacts?
They want to be white, but see, a female is way different than a male, though, right? A female
Nope.
always want to reach out to the most dominant.
Who trains the males?
Well, I don't think would you say the female train the male?
Female trains the males. They transmit culture. If the black women, the females tell it's okay to marry a white woman, it'll be acceptable for black men to do what?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, but I think. All right, but how do you explain the fact that
if half of the Brazilians, half of the black Brazilians could be white, they would. There's racism going on in Brazil.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can be born as dark as any black person, and the parents of that baby will choose for that baby to be white because you have the choice to choose what race your baby is. But
you have an advantage in the society. So in other words, and half the society in Brazil are dark people.
Right, but at the same time though,
the white people in Brazil are a minority. If you think about it, they're a minority.
Oh yeah, they just came up with admit the fact that more than 50% of the population is
identifies, and that's only because it's only because of South Africa admitted into the BRICS, because we've been following this stuff. But I know what you're talking about. That's a recent thing, because now it is advantageous to be associated with South Africa and China and Russia rather than Europe. That's how come you have to switch over. It's an identification thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is recently that they say they are
I,
more than 50% African
boss,
descent.
I could probably, if I really wanted to find it in my Evernote, I could find you the article, and we know why, exactly why they did it. It's a political thing, but that's okay. I know why they did it. But what I'm saying is, every what I'm saying, I've been in this community for a long time, and we've been fighting to separate the black, keeping the black community separate for a long time, and every black conscious person to a person knows that the game is probably up in the United States as far as keeping a black community embedded. Everybody's going to be assimilated. Now you can identify as, just like Jews identify as Jews, or Italians identify as Italians, but as far as a black community, you're not gonna have one.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think we can call any community in this country as black community. Just black people
Yeah,
living there.
New York has a strong black community. Chicago has a strong black community. So does Atlanta. Has a strong black community. In LA, we don't have one anymore. We have little enclaves that are still left, but we don't have a black community in Los Angeles anymore. It's gone.
Mm.
And the Chicago, and once Chicago, New York, and Atlanta are gone, there probably won't be any. The little pockets like Memphis they're gonna get eaten up really quickly. I'm not saying this is coming from a Pan African. This is coming from a quote unquote pro black consciousness person. For me to say it, it does hurt, but it is the way it is. If you want a black community, for in the next going forward, you're probably pretty much going to have to move out of the country. Everybody agrees. But the thing is, you're welcome to believe what you want, but the numbers don't lie. You're looking at Brazil. Brazil is not the United States.
Right.
White people are reminded. They will tell you the story that there wasn't enough people in Portugal to swamp out all the black people, all the black slaves of the black people in Portugal.
Right, but at the same time too, right? I mean, you're not gonna have a white identity neither in this country.
Black people already have a 90% white identity anyway.
White identity?
Yes. 90% of black people have it's 90% of white identity. Look at what you wear, look at what you drive, look how you talk, all this. Right. Yeah. It's not that you're not. If you clean up your English and you marry a white woman, you have adopted a white identity. It's not that big of a change between you and them. There's some cultural differences, but they're not overwhelming.
Well, if that's the plan, I think they're going to be met with a lot of resistance on both sides.
Not really. How much resistance do you see? They're carving up your communities. Look. Do you see people out there throwing Molotov cocktails? Because white people, where do black people go when they get some money? Do they go back into their black communities?
Yeah.
Huh? Talk to me.
Well, yeah, I mean they
talk
work
to me. Talk to me. Let's be honest.
We don't have an economy.
No. Let's be honest.
Right.
When black people get some money, do they move deeper into the black community? No. Where do they move?
The white community. Now, the white
community.
Exactly. Well, when I say meet with resistance, I'm talking about a lot of white folks are not going to want.
Well, I'm not talking about white people. I'm not talking about white people resisting. I'm talking about black people resistance, because it's the black people that have to not want to assimilate into the white people, right?
You think
want to keep it alive? Yeah.
No, don't you think white folks feel the same way?
They feel the same way, but they don't have any choice. They're not in control of shit. Okay, if they were, black people wouldn't even be in the country if they were.
So to your account, then the African identity is going to be completely erased in this country. Like you don't
have an African identity. You have a black American identity. You don't have an African identity. Go to the continent and see how African you actually are. I've been there. I'm 90% American. Okay.
Well, but when you talk,
it is. That's my.
Yeah, but when you talk to a European or Italian, they always go back to the original land, which is Europe. So I think we should not completely dismiss our native land either.
Go to Europe, any white country in Europe. Open your mouth and start talking, and see if they identify you as African.
Well,
you don't have an African identity. You have a black identity. Pan-Africanism is a political thing that W. Du Bois. In fact, it was in the article I just posted. I just posted the doggone vid about the color line. Pan-Africanism is a political idea. I posted I wish you guys. I don't know if you guys actually go through the videos. You guys bring up arguments that have already settled. I posted up the Negro question for a reason, so that you get educated. Black people did not want to leave because they had an American identity. If they had an African identity, they would have gone home. It wasn't just white people that kept them here. It's black people that resisted from being sent out of the country because they said they are American. You have an American identity.
Well, I mean,
you don't have an African identity.
Yeah, so
you have a black American lower caste identity. That's what you have.
Right, but I think too, another reason why black folks did not want to move back to Africa is, if white folks are not the only group who built this country. I think mostly was built by black folks. So
if you've been gone 2 or 3, 4 generations, your culture is no longer African. You don't know anybody there. You don't know if they put you out on African soil, you probably starve because you're culturated to a different land. Culture is formed by the environment that you're around and your biology. You have an American culture. You have an American identity. If you go to the continent and you're there for 15 minutes, you realize that you are American.
That's why when the Haitians were coming to America, they stood out so much between the African American community. I think that if you took my grandmother from Haiti, she would do far better than an African American going to the continent, unless we're talking about somebody like a sharecropper who at the very least might be under land work, but culture.
Haitian culture is probably a lot closer to African culture than anybody in America. They still have because they separated themselves from white people. The Haitian culture still has a lot of strong African roots. So even today, people from Haiti probably can go to Africa, and I think there's some that actually have and actually blended in rather well, rather quickly, because a lot of their culture, at least a good part of their culture, is still African. Their religion, the way they grow their food, their ways is still, a lot of the old ways are still there. In America, there's very little. I've been there. There's very little. There's some cultural elements that actually are still alive and still flourish in the the black community, but like I said, it's 10% or less. It really is. We don't, and that's. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that to brainwash people into not being black or trying to be white. I'm brainwashed because that's the reality. It's the reality I had to come to. Like it or not, if I go back to Africa, I have to relearn a whole nother culture. I just do. No matter what my skin color is or what I look like, and I look at my genome, it's like 88% West African, Nigeria to be specific.
But I'm gonna tell you one thing.
What's that?
If you meet a woman from wherever country, and you happen to like that woman, most likely it will be a lot easier for you to convert and begin to adopt a new culture.
You will learn how to adapt to it, but it will never be your culture.
Right.
The culture is basically formed with a child from ages 1 to 7, 0 to 7. Everything else is an adaptation. That's how come the second generation is always pure, whatever it is, wherever you are. That's how come you always have this big shift in the second generation. Our black women have are like 90%, act like 90% of white women, and there's a 10% cultural element that makes them different.
Well, with Haiti as well, I think the media is out there, and Haitian women mimic American women.
They mimic. Well, say if you go, I mean, we have a Haitian on the line. There's a huge difference. I mean, there's a huge difference between a Haitian coming from Haiti
Yeah.
and an African American woman. Huge difference. They spot it because the single mother shit that African Americans black women talk about.
Yeah.
You know, Haitian women don't talk that shit. They raised it. Their thing is to raise that child to the best of their ability, father or not, and not cry.
It was absolutely non-existent in my household.
Hmm.
Like it blows. Sit down thinking about it.
Hmm.
It blows my mind. Even as a first generation, it blows my mind. There was no such. My mother would say, I did it all by myself, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But it was nothing under no circumstance. As a matter of fact, she would have actually said, it's me and my two sisters. She would have actually said, I'm waiting for you guys to leave the house so I can get married again. I don't want you niggers here any longer. It's so it was never the it's 28 years in this. I'm completely independent. I can do it all by myself. It's absolutely foreign,
Yeah.
you know absolutely, absolutely foreign. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah. I do this. I talk about this so that you can. I put up the quickly stuff so that you can really. That's why I really go deeply into culture so that you can understand how human beings work. So you can really understand how human beings actually work. Culture, the human animal, depends on culture more than any other animal on Earth. And culture is deeply embedded into them. So if you understand the culture and how the human being works, regardless of biology, but you have to know how it works.
So do you
There's
think?
Go ahead.
So do you think um, if what you said earlier is going to actually happen, which I think you have made some good point. I think most likely it will. But do you think is going to be better for the country or
Better for
worse?
uh do I think it's going to be better for the country or worse? I don't know, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it's going to happen anyway.
Right.
I don't know if it's going to be better or worse. And the only thing that's going to, like I said, the only thing that's going to stop it is if the white system completely collapses.
Right. Now I
And
was
that
also
that's
thinking.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was also thinking about this. If reason why they try to blend in all different races, quote unquote, could it be because um, they realize that they're losing power, and therefore there's nothing to fight over again, so might as well just mix everybody up.
Okay. Um, let's put it this way. Say I don't know if you're married or not, but say you got married, right?
Mhm.
And you basically you and your wife get married. You have okay. She brings in her family. You bring in your family. She's got in-laws on your side. You got in-laws on her side. So what if happens if the two families don't get along?
It's not gonna be good,
It's not going to be good, right?
right?
If you can blend the two families so they see themselves as one family, is that better?
It'll be better for the family, yeah,
It'd be better for the whole everybody
for
concerned,
the whole
right?
family, right? Right.
That's why they want to assimilate black people. You cannot have a segment of your population always it's strife with the dominant society. It's going to always cause problems. And as a manager of any society, whether it's a business, whether it's a family, whether it's a city, a nation, or even a world,
Mm.
what are you trying to keep down? Conflict, right?
Right. Yeah, I got your point. I
Hey,
mean,
BGS.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying,
Go ahead.
but if you look at Brazil as a model, they try to do that, but there's still conflict amongst people.
Why did it trying to assimilate black people did not work? What do you think?
Well, I mean, you still have the burials and the ghettos. Take because I
I know,
really don't.
I know, we're talking about structurally as a plan. Why do you think it didn't work when you tried to swamp out the black identity? How come it didn't work?
Still colorism. That's my answer.
No, 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 not enough white people.
Why they imported because that's what they did.
I know they imported them, but there's on. Well, Portugal is what very
a lot
small,
of German,
huh?
a lot of German got
But they were
imported.
imported. They were imported from everywhere. They didn't just
They
import from
came in from, but the thing is, it's still very small. The bulk of white people came where? Went to where?
Okay, south of Brazil.
No, the bulk of white people came to the United States,
Okay,
Oh,
all right, yeah.
right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They
And
were
Brazil was
at the
had the
beginning.
most slaves.
Excuse me.
They had the most slaves. That was one of the reasons too.
They had
Because
more slaves. They had more slaves. They had more black people. Number one, way more than the United States did, right? And the bulk of the white people went where?
The U.S.
They
in
went to
Brazil,
the U.S. No, they went to the
the U.S.
U.S. Yeah.
Also, they didn't
So
have an industrial revolution as big.
if you had a choice between going to Brazil and going to the United States, which one would you pick?
Oh yeah, I'd pick Brazil. I would right now. I would pick
No,
Brazil.
no, no.
But
If you're a white European immigrant that's dirt poor, would you go to the Amazon jungle where it's hot, or go to a moderate climate like the United States?
the United States, of course.
Of course. So if you had a massive amount of white people coming to the United States and a smaller portion of black people that are already here, is it easier to swamp out the black population than it is in Brazil?
Yeah.
It's a numbers game.
Because the percentage here is 30%. What is it? 10% black.
It's depending on how you count it, because because we count. Remember, we count mulattoes too.
You know,
You're not talking about pure African. If we just talk about pure African people, pure African dark people, we're probably talking about less than 10%.
yeah.
Okay.
You know, another thing I was looking at, they keep saying the percentage is like 13%, 12%.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering because if you go to any of these airports, man, Washington D.C., JFK, Newark, it's like 90% black people working there. I mean, it's black everywhere. So I think
know.
they're kind of suppressing,
Okay, but
the
thing is,
percentage.
how big is the United States?
Right, that's what you're saying too. Yeah, you got all the states. You got the red states and all these other states.
I'm trying to get you guys to think, not react. Think. I'm not trying to win a debate. I'm trying to get you to think. What are the differences between one situation and another? Are they equal? If they were equal, if they were completely equal, where they had the same amount of white people and the same amount of black people in Brazil and the United States, they were absolutely equal, right down the center. Then I would agree with you. But are they? Were they able to swamp out all the Native Americans? No, down in Brazil, no. They're still there.
Right, but they're still in more of a minority than black folks. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
because black
African
black
descent folk.
because black slaves, just like anything else, their reproductive their birth rate is higher.
Mm.
Parenthood.
Yeah, they do that, but the thing is, they don't want to do the one thing that will ensure it. But for them to do it, will basically put the last nail in their own coffin. That's why they don't want to release it, which is male birth control. That'll cut down the number of black people, but it'll also basically virtually wipe them out within three generations.
Because white men would use
Is
it
that
too
one
as
reason I
well,
want
and
to?
probably
Huh? Yeah, yeah.
more than black
You
men.
know,
And they know that.
no, black men actually use condoms more than white men. Believe it or not.
But
No,
our
I agree
birth
with
rate
you.
is still higher.
Slightly. That's the only the only reason that the black there's two reasons that the black birth rate is not fertility rate's not higher. It's one that black women get more abortions, and two, black men use more condoms.
Mm.
If it wasn't for that, the black birth rate would probably be about 4 fertility rate.
Yeah, oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I research a lot about the abortion, and abortion, and it's very bad. Very bad.
Excuse me, say that again.
A lot about African American black people and abortions as far as it comes to our women, and it's very sad and very bad. It's kind of
when they defund Planned Parenthood, which is what Trump is getting ready to do. When you defund Planned Parenthood, and abortions get a lot more expensive, you're gonna have a big spike in you're gonna have a spike in the fertility rate for black people. Yeah.
You mean more Pookies and Ray Rays?
And more Pookies and Ray Rays. But the thing is, they're not gonna give black women any. Somebody's got the speakers on or got YouTube on in the background. But you're gonna have more Pookies and Ray Rays, and but they're not gonna give black women any more money for them. That's gonna be the squawk. So black women are gonna have to control their own fertility.
Right.
Yep.
So that's pretty much.
Go ahead, bro, because you got the speaker on.
But that's not going to happen, though. I mean, I just see that now there's so much of a divide between black women, and black men. It's really going to be really hard for us to ever pull something together at that point.
Well, it's not about pulling yourself together. We're talking about black women have never learned how to control their fertility or their own desire. You know, even back when I was younger, man. Black women talk that shit about wrapping it up. Man, you pull out when I was in my 20s, you pull out a condom, getting ready to have sex with a woman. What you doing with that?
Exactly. Because me and my boys were talking about that. Because a lot of women get upset you pull out.
Yeah. You pull out a condom. Yeah, they get upset. So when black women, they have been children about their own sexuality. That's what Ron was talking about earlier. They never talk about the sex piece because they know there's one piece that the black woman can't control. It's not, I was just thinking about. I didn't even put up the video. I had done a rant, and it was almost like 45-minute rant, man. I said I can't put this out. I cannot put it out. I didn't even upload. I got to record it. I listened to it.
Do it.
Oh man! I'll edit it. I'll edit it and I'll put it out. I said I'm already beating up on. I'm already accused of beating up on women already, man. And
I'm gonna be the Kermit in the hood. Do it.
What I'm saying is that the black women. I was saying that there's that I was saying that I was going to put up one that I was just thinking about it, where there's 3 reasons that black women have babies. Okay, the first one is the topmost is that they get addicted to you sexually, emotionally, and physically. They get addicted to you, and their biology takes over. So automatically, you ain't got to say shit. If you let her do she'll have 4 babies for you if you don't say nothing. Just automatically, she'll just stop taking the birth control, and she just start popping out babies for you without you even asking her. You have to stop her from having babies. Okay. The second thing is money. that old eight women, black women used to get married to get out of their parents' house. Now they just have a baby and they collect a check, which is money. If they don't have no prospects, the easiest thing to do is what? Pop out a baby. And the last one is that they actually desire, they're older and they desire a baby, and they don't care who they have it by because they want one. Black women are not black women do not want to control their own sexuality. They really don't. That's how come they
Now,
keep. That's how come they keep pointing at men.
is that something inherent, something cultural,
I
female
think it's all
nature?
three. I think it's all three. Well, culture is a mismatch of environment and biology, and I think uh, because of the slight change, the slight difference in biology with black women, which have more testosterone, which basically give them a higher sex drive as part of it. The cultural damage that we've had from white America, and then the environment. So I think it's all three. And it's not to say that black women are bad. It's just it is what it is. It's not that they're evil or anything else like that. It just is what it is. And the thing is, and they're allowed to blame black men for their own sexuality and their own fertility, and basically the rest of the society, since they don't like black men that much, is yeah, well, go ahead and dump on them. Even though it's plain to see, everybody knows that when you say, well, he got me pregnant, which is bullshit. Why did you carry the baby through? How come you weren't both control? How come you didn't use a condom? How come you didn't abort the baby?
They didn't sit up and say, "Well, I just want a kid." So
They could just say that. Yeah. In fact, that was something I was going to put up because even something Chrissy said in one of her videos that really that I hear a lot that really pissed me off is that they were talking about that's I got to get back into these kind of videos. They were talking about the never married rate, right? It was like 70%. And the feminists and the black feminists and all the other black women say, okay, we're using it to put black women down, that they'll never be wanted, they'll never get married, even though bad black women get married later. In other words, what they're saying, they're using the same stat that from 20 to 29 is 70% of the never married rate. By the time we see the 55 cohort, 55 or over cohort, so it's down to like 13%. So by 55, the majority of black women have gotten married, right? Which is only partially true because the 20 to 29 cohort is not the same generation as the 55 and over. Two different generations. So in other words, what the environment that they came up with, the way they were raised, is completely different than those people. So they projected out and they said, okay, even though we projected out the rise in the never married rates going back in history, they projected out so that like 25 or 30% of black women will never get married in this particular millennial generation. But that is not why they keep the stat. The reason that they keep the stat is when you line it, and that's why I can't stand feminists. I can't stand all these educated women. Either they are stupid or they are lying. The reason that you keep the stat is that the never married rate should line up with what? With the first birth percentage, the median first births, right? If you're not married by 2029, when you get married, that should be when you have your what, first child, right? It makes sense. The two should go together, right?
right,
Why is the never married rate doesn't start going down till age 35, but the median rate for a black woman having her first child is 24? What does that mean? If you having the bulk of your women are having babies at 24, 25, 26, but they're not getting married to 35, what does that mean? What are you producing?
Irresponsible children and irresponsible
You
generation.
producing out of wedlock births. Which is why a lot of millennials quote history but do not what understand it. If I can look at a chart and I ask a question, I can go on another chart that will give me an answer. That's why they keep the stat. That's the problem. That's why the CDC published it. It's not to say that you're not wanted. They're saying these two things don't go together, and they're causing a problem. Rape. uh, but anyway, folks, I gotta run. I've stayed overtime. I stayed way longer than I had intended. So I'll check you guys out later. All right.
All right,
All
brother.
right, cool. All right.
All right. Peace.
All y'all brothers, take it easy.